So the screen is visible for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The objective is very simple. So when I'm talking about score improvement program, so we are talking about one single specific objective. So you are stuck in some level of score. It could be 140, 150, 160, 120. When you look at it, an average of 15 to 20 marks can be easily added. 15 to 20 marks can be easily added by fine-tuning the efforts. Now, I cannot guarantee 70 marks, 80 marks in each paper. So that's a different thing altogether. Score improvement, the objective is to move from your 140s to 220 plus. So this will definitely happen as long as you follow this. This is the core objective. Now, for students who are left with only one group, students who are writing one group, it is clear. There is no second thought about it, either group one or group. This is clear. Now, for the set of students who are writing both groups, now when somebody has 70 days to go, I would say if you're thinking of both groups, one group should have definitely be done because we're talking about the last 30 days exclusively for revision. So even if somebody is writing both groups, when one group is reasonably done, they can as it is follow the schedule for the other groups. This is exactly how it is compatible for all sets of people, including you guys here. And these are the set of experts. How did we identify them? We identify them purely because of their problem, not because there was court exemption. They had a problem. Most of them moved to exemption from that 30 to 35 range. Even Sri got 61 in SFM. His previous score was 28. So this will give you further confidence, when you know that somebody who has been stuck at the same position is now able to move to a different position altogether. So that is exactly why this is a very practical thing. Instead of it being a motivational thing, it's a very practical thing. So where you are and where you can go, which has been done quite practically. So this is the next advantage. And in terms of the cycle, so this is one of the best schedules when you have 70 days to go, because we have 3 cycles of preparation here. So this is exactly what you have to clearly have in your mind. So you have 3 cycles of preparation. So when you're looking at cycle number 1, so in this 10 days, you're expected to cover. For example, I think Vishnu, your bigger problem is with SFM. In your case, the other subjects are reasonably sorted. So now what would you do? Let's say audit is your core strength, just like Jashwin. Focus on improving your score closer to 60 in audit if that works for you. Nigita has some issues in SFM, but probably her objective could be crossing 60 in SFM. Vishnu's objective could be crossing 45 in SFM. So in this 10 days, the objective is dependent on where you are and where you have to go. The fundamental part from our end is to make sure you cross at least 40 plus. But the customized element or the personal element is where you are and what exactly is the subject strength and how can you move forward from there. This is how it has to be done from this segment. So the first 40 days starting from August 21st. So 22nd August, this is exactly where you're starting in. So if you're looking at the first 10 days, you'll be done with law entirely. Then we are moving into SFM. And by this cycle, you'll be in a very good position to clear. The next cycle is where differentiates the both group students and single group student. If you're writing both groups in this cycle, you're expected to revise group 2. If you're writing only one group, you'll get 2 cycles. Okay, so this is the framework for single versus both groups, and this is exactly has to be followed, especially this. The 1.5 day strategy, there is no issues or disputes. The last 30 days, no issues or disputes. They have to be done only for your revision part. Only difference is both group students have 1 cycle of revision. One group cycle has two cycles of revision. One group people have 2 cycles of revision. This is exactly what has to happen. So when it comes to SFM, you need to understand one significant part here. It is mostly focused on the evaluation and synthesis. So we're discussing this part, right? So when you talk about evaluation and synthesis, what actually happens? What exactly is the component or what actually happens in evaluation and synthesis? That you are going to get almost 50% from this paper. This is only in SFM. Out of 100 marks where the skill is tested, 50% of the skill is tested from SFM alone. So this is exactly what you have to clearly understand. Okay, that is the reason why you need to put in the additional emphasis. But the advantage is that this gives you that boost in score also. Most of the people who do good in SFM end up scoring an exemption SFM. And what is evaluation synthesis is something which you already understood in multiple things. And the single point agenda or objective of SFM is how can you work, how can you apply the financial management theories and techniques in strategic decision making. So please understand this. It's not just about applying formula. There is a mix of financial management and strategic management. Financial management and strategic management. These are the 2 components which you have to be very, very clear about. Next, talking about the weightages and all, we already given you complete clarity about the blocks, weightages, and how it is going to figure out in the exam and all of that. And luckily for most of the students, SFM is reasonably comfortable. When it is already comfortable, when it is reasonably comfortable, why should we get stuck in 30s and 40s? Why don't we go to 50 and 60 is what we're looking at. So as you can see, for most of the students, they say SFM, they feel that it is a strong subject, but in reality, the scoring is not that reflected. If you can see, when people say this is my strong subject, 40% are saying it is my strong subject, but only 10% of students are actually getting an exemption. They think it is strong, but they're not able to get an exemption. So this is the gap which we are trying to bridge in the score improvement program. And in terms of weakest subject, again, a lot of students always say that SFM is the least weakest, which means it is in the lower order in terms of the weakness. So weakest subject is audit. Once again, it is giving us enough impetus to focus and go and get an exemption, etc. So these are the reasons why we are looking at it. And the syllabus is reasonably beautifully planned, because there are only 14 chapters, out of which almost 5 to 6 chapters are chotu-motu chapters, so you can finish them off very quickly. So the core chapters, the 6 top chapters, can be easily broken down in this, and you can have this weightage, which is battle proof. This is not an important question, this is not an important chapter. We are looking at a block of topics. Okay, this is exactly how it is. And as I bring forward the exemption expert for SFM, is also with us. He'll be taking over the stage quite shortly. But talking about Sri, one of the things is he's completely building his profile in financial management. He's worked as an equity research consultant, and he's completely getting there. He's taking your hands and legs deep into that. He wants to be identified as one of the pioneer financial management experts with specific focus on SFM. So that is the reason why this is we have chosen him. And the best part is he has utilized the entire process. So when you're talking about the mindset part, routine part, all of that, he has utilized everything, and now he is fine-tuning it further in terms of taking it in detail for SFM more specifically. This is exactly what it is. And these are some issues which he has faced himself, and he was able to improve it and has done a fantastic job in clearing both groups in one attempt. Again, this guy is an implementer, and we are inviting him today to become a part of our Vision 10,000 CS. So this is why we have invited him. One thing which is exceptionally good, because we always keep talking about it, Sri Kirloskar will be able to do it for you for all the chapters, including your difficult chapters. And this component is already done for you. So now this is the area where Sri will be focusing most. And the biggest authority which he has is this: 28 marks to 61, guys. 28 marks to 61. This is exactly why we have to choose. A lot of people who have scored exemption in SFM, but why Sri? Because of this. He has more than doubled his scores, and not only that, he's building his entire life and career in terms of SFM. That is the reason why I wanted him to take this huge responsibility. So he'll be the right mentor. So Sri, you're there?
Yes. Just a moment.
Yes,
I think I should be fine now.
You are not visible yet.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me take the privilege of adding those 2 letters. Whenever Sri comes, he never keeps this 2 letters, but somehow I find a lot of joy in adding CA to my students. So.
Actually, very sincere apologies for joining in late. My Zoom actually went into an auto update. So that's why I was
that's understandable.
Might be the default settings have got activated, because I have kept it as CA Sri Kirloskar only.
No, you exactly joined when I said Sri Kirloskar in the template. I think you are very good at timing. So that is when you're expected to join. You are joined in that. So to give a quick context, Nikita is a pro student Sri. So she is working hard, and she's one of the students who have been very regular and sincere in submitting her day and revision trackers, exam mistake tracker. So I want to place our team's bet on her. Like when you were studying, when Suresh was studying, we know that something is going to happen. Like it's a reasonable possibility that these guys are clearing. So Nikita is one of the student. Now coming to Vishnu, the reason why I bought him is Vishnu is a working professional.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking, and the best part is even though he's a working professional, he doesn't convey that feeling in his preparation to anyone that is a working professional. So he kind of competes with full-time students. Other working professionals will generally create excuses why I cannot study and all. So these are 2 very good students who would like working with, and I'm looking at them as future CS. So that way they're just a few steps away. Coming to Nikita, I believe SFM is a stronger subject. She's reasonably comfortable. Coming to Vishnu, it's a weaker subject. For him,
Okay.
it's not that comfortable. So I have shared their profiles with you already. So this is exactly where I wanted to take it. Shri, are you able to share the screen from your end? Is it sorted for you?
Yes, I'll be comfortable sharing the screen.
You have the entire presentation, right? The presentation which you
Yes,
presented.
I have it open with me.
So you have the presentation. You also have their profiles.
Yes. Nikita's profile, I just downloaded it. I was just seeing out. Vishnu's profile, I have it, and we actually talked about it yesterday.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
I
yes,
understand
yes.
that he's working and he's able to devote almost 8 hours every day, even though he's in a working stream. So that is really commendable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
See, I have shared the link to you. PPT link, the latest one, to your WhatsApp. You can use that exactly so that we are continuing the same.
okay, got it.
So I would say before we dig into the details, Vishnu, what exactly are you looking? Because you understand what Free does, right? So if you have
Yeah.
to get one key takeaway from this call, what is it you're looking for?
I want to be comfortable. Like I want to feel like I can do SFM, comfortably well. Like what I've did for FRSF law and audit. I want to take the SFM to the same level where I
Got it.
can, confidently secure 40 plus. I should not feel that 40 is not possible.
Understood.
I should feel that SFM is okay, comfortable. I can do it. That kind of confidence I need.
Got it. What about Nikita? What is your single point agenda?
Me, I'm actually looking for exemption and SFM.
Mm.
So that is where last time I scored 45. So I need a little push from there.
Fair enough. Shri, it's an interesting combination.
Last time, sorry, I was not able to connect. Nikita, what was your last score?
45.
45. Okay.
See, the reason why it's interesting is both of them scored similarly in the last attempt. But the difference is last attempt for Vishnu is 2019, for Nikita it's recent. So Vishnu wants to replicate his score. He's happy by replicating 45. Nikita is already at 45. She wants to go to 60. So this
Sir,
way.
can I tell you one thing, sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, while preparing for November 19 attempt, SFM was my strongest subject, and FR was my weaker subject. Then, listen, I don't know what happened all these days and all. Now suddenly I'm feeling that I'm not able to regain all the concepts which I've done that time. Now I'm feeling that everything was new now.
Yes.
So while taking the lectures and all, I'm feeling like it is taking more time for me. So I want to sort this out. I need some little help in this. So
absolutely. So how it is going to happen is Shri will be taking you with individual consultation in terms of the PDF which you have shared. Yesterday I filled an SFM strategy form, right? So he'll be going through the details and be giving you solutions. Now, why it is happening for one of you, the other person is expected to pay attention to this because you need to build clarity significantly. So where you are looking at it from an external perspective, which will give you some freedom of thought. If you are involved, it becomes emotional. When you're doing it for the other person, it becomes logical so that you'll be able to absorb more. Then it comes to you. Now, both of you pay enough attention. And then I'll once again stitch all the dots together at the conclusion. Okay. So, Sri, over to you. So, please take this forward.
Yes, sure. Sir, I would require access to that link. Can you just provide me?
The PPT, is it?
Yeah, the latest link which you have shared.
Just a second.
Yes, sure.
Sri, done.
Okay, just give me a minute.
So, you just have to refresh and check. You're an editor. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay, you need to give access to this screen sharing as well, I think.
A lot of tech.
Yeah, a lot of access being required.
So this is how the leadership delegation happens, right? Like suddenly when some new guy is coming in, that's how it works. So I got it now. Go ahead. Yeah. All yours. Yeah, give it. It's there.
Okay, just let me know if you guys are able to see my screen now.
Noted.
Loading as of now.
Not it.
Yeah, is it visible now?
No, not it.
Not yet. Okay. Okay, one second.
Yeah, visible.
Yeah, now it is visible.
Okay, great. So I think the last conversation which sir was having was on this slide, right?
Yes.
This one.
18th one.
Yeah, I think it just has gone hanged up. Okay, no worries. Till the time it gets loaded. So when I was discussing with sir yesterday, we came upon we finalized a strategy for SFM, which I will be explaining you right now. The strategy will be some part of it will be repetitive for you, something which you must have been going through or preparing. But some part which I have devised, it might be new for you. So it will be great if you just first listen to this. If we have any doubts, we can take this ahead and we can internally discuss it. So yes, I hope the slideshow mode has got on now.
Yeah.
Okay, so my simple strategy for scoring an exemption in SFM, and Vishnu, in your case, to get to obviously do 40 to 50 levels easily, is to have these 4 ingredients, which is my recipe for scoring good in SFM. These 4 are listed here. First is 100% conceptual clarity. Second is abundant writing practice and cumulative revision. Third is abundant grip over theory. And fourth is the most important one, is the ability to revise everything in the last 1.5 days. So I'll be just going through each and every aspect in detail. First, let me start with the conceptual clarity part. So, as you know, in SFM, the major focus is on the evaluation and synthesis part, where you are expected to, there are majorly practical questions of around 80 marks, 80 to 85 marks, where you are expected to go through the question and provide a solution to it. So major part of your understanding and your studying of this subject will involve evaluation of that problem, which is given in the question, thinking about that problem, what can be the solution, and arriving at a solution. It is difficult from other practical subjects like FR, where there is a standard template. You have to present the answer in that template, and the major focus is on how you present and disclose it. In Indies, the focus is always on how detailed the financial statements are, or how detailed you can present it, so that you can give more clarity to the investors or the users of the financial statement. But the game is a bit different in SFM. The main focus is on how you know the concepts very well, how you can use that concept knowledge which you have gained, and you can solve that question and arrive at a particular answer. So the major and the most important focus should be on getting conceptual clarity. Now, if any one of you can volunteer, I want to make it this extension as interactive as possible. Any one of you can, suppose I give you a chapter called Foreign Exchange Exposure and Management. Hope you guys both know what this chapter is, at least if you have not covered it, but I hope you both know what this chapter is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if any one of you can volunteer, and if I give you like you have to cover this chapter in like 7-8 days, how will you go through it? Like, can you give me your process of doing this chapter? If anyone can volunteer, that will be great.
Okay, if I have, mostly I do start with what are the basic. I do with formulas first. I write and learn all the formulas first. Then I go to the basic concepts, what is there, and then I start I have a list of all the concept-wise questions. So I do whichever is the easier question first and try out the next question on my own. And I write down wherever I went wrong.
Okay. So the framework is you. So if you have, I'm assuming you have a concept book separate and a question bank separate. Is that the case? Am I right?
No, for me, all the theory part separate and all the ICI questions and the question bank included in one book.
Yeah, those separate 2 books, right?
Yeah.
So the sequence is you first read suppose the concept notes for those chapter is around 20-25 pages. Let's take a rough example. You will read all the 25 pages first of that concept. You will read all the formulas and go to these concepts, read it from A to Z, and then you solve all the questions.
Yeah.
And in that you solve the easier questions first.
Easier questions in the sense I would like, for me, I have marked which is the exam questions and what is for conceptual knowledge, where you have all the points covered. So I try to do one question from each topic and then go over the others and try to do on my own.
So just the concepts and then the questions, right?
Yeah.
And after that, the questions get your questions part is finished. Then the chapter, you can term the chapter as completed for you.
Yeah.
And how are you on the revision side of it? Like, when do you revise everything what you already studied? If you can let me know that.
Mine, as of now, I'm going with the cycle that sir is giving. The 7 days, I'm done with the 7 days. I'll be going to 10 days and 4+4 days. Otherwise, usually I revise all the formulas once a week, and I do whatever questions I found tricky. Once in a while, maybe 1 hour a day or on every Saturdays or so.
Okay. And Vishnu, any different methodology which you follow, or is it the same?
Maximum part is same, but I used to write what is the main point he's asking and where the twist is in that problem. I note down separately beside in the margin of each problem. So while doing revision, I'll focus on. I'll be knowing that this question is about this. You need to focus more on this. So that kind of things I usually note down in the margins. So that
okay. So majorly the part is same, but on one additional thing which you do is for every difficult question, some question where it makes you think a lot and where you might go wrong, you write the important part of that, like crux of that question in the margin.
Yes.
And when you revise this question again, you might read the margins while content first and then go to the question, right?
Yeah, I'll be like more cautious. Like this kind of a question comes means we'll be asking like this part very trickily where we need to be very careful. So that I'll keep in mind always in SFM particularly and FR. I used to yeah.
Got it. So the reason why I asked you is because I wanted to know first what method which you guys originally follow, and just to understand how your structuring is. I have an additional method of doing this. What if I tell you, like in the big chapters like Forex or derivatives, where the concepts are more compared to other chapters. Forex has a lot of concept, derivatives have futures, options. Then in futures option, there is theoretical future pricing. Then you have to calculate whether it is undervalued, overvalued. Options, you have all the models of pricing the options. So you understand there are a lot of concepts which are going on here. What happens is when you, which has been my case before I joined Super 36, I used to do something like this. I used to take my concept book. I used to read all the concepts from A to Z, all the formulas firstly, all the concepts, and then I have to solve the questions. Now, hope you know, in Forex, in ICI's module itself, which is the basic module we have for SFM new syllabus, we have close to around 50 to 53 questions. If you have a question bank, you might as well have in Forex, chapters like Forex, you might have close to 100 questions for practice. Now, when a student goes from A to Z, he does concepts first and then goes to the question bank. First of all, due to time constraint, he is not able to complete each and every question. some or the other part gets left out because of the time running out. He has allocated like 7 to 8 days, but in these days he's only close to like 30-40 questions. So when the time runs out, the student has only two options: either to extend the timeline or to make up to the mind that I have done enough. I have given 7-8 days. I have covered close to 40 questions. And I think that's enough for me. I should move ahead. If I ask any question, I'll be able to at least answer that. But there is a catch in this. I'll explain you how. So, hope you're able to see the next slide. So what happens is this concept is called as selective study. What the student does is he reads the concept from A to Z theoretically in his concept book, but while solving the problem, he goes to around only 30-40 problems. And it might happen that some concepts, practical problems may get left out, might be they will be covered in the next 50 to 60 wala batch of questions. So he's not able to study those or solve those. Now, when a tough paper is set by ICI for SFM, I think Nikita has given May 2023 paper, right?
Yeah.
If you have seen, the paper's difficulty was a bit on the higher side as compared to the previous papers.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, it was.
So it was a bit difficult. The difficulty was a bit on the higher side. So in what ICI does in such kind of papers, it very well knows the psychology of the student. It will ask problems from those concepts which are in, like, due to time constraints, are left by the student. So when you do selective study, you go from A to Z, but due to the time constraint, you are able to cover, maybe you are able to cover concept wise A to Z, but from the practical point of view, you might go only from A to S or A to T. So some important questions which are from that particular concept gets left out. So my suggestion would be for the big chapters. I understand for smaller chapters you can cover it with the traditional approach. For big chapters like forex or derivative analysis, or we have for portfolio management, one strategy which worked for me is I used to break down the concept which the chapter offers into. I used to draw this tree diagram and I used to write every concept. So I have given you an example of forex. Forex has all these concepts. When I was studying, I had all these concepts. Like, I have broken it down. What are the key concepts here? The exchange rate finding, the strategies in forex, money market, futures, options, forward, and this image has not been clear, but here it's the interbank dealings, extension, late, early contract, and the other other base topics. For the accounts which are there in forex, Nostro, Loro, Vostro account, the exposures in forex. So how I used to do it, I used to read this concept first from my concept book. So I used to prepare this in line with the concept book which I had at that time. I used to read this concept first. I used to read this concept entirely. If any formula is there or any textual text I have to read, I used to read this, and I used to solve questions of this concept first. When I used to solve questions of this, I used to write at least 2 questions in writing and audit the remaining ones. When this is completed, I used to tick mark this and I used to move to the next concept. Then this cycle used to go on. So when I used to cover everything according to this. You may notice that in my given allotted time, I have covered every concept that forex chapter has to offer. I have not left any concept behind. I have studied the concept. I have studied the formulas for that concept. I have practiced questions for that concept also. This is very imperative or useful when ICI sets a difficult question and it asks from a tiny, it asks from a very minute block of concept, which is this. A student, if he has gone from A to Z, the accounts which is there, the sums on this particular concept is on the last pages, or it is somewhere where the student does not catches his or her eye first. The most important concentration of student is on this particular part: money market, futures, options, forward. The student will have a good grip here, but will have a weaker grip over here because he has not been able to cover it in the time constraint. So when I used to do this, I used to cover everything this particular chapter has to offer, and I was able to cover every part of this. I didn't used to leave any stones unturned. So this is one of the strategy which I followed for covering huge chapters. Forex, I have seen many students complain that they have very little time and so much is left of Forex, and they are actually a bit concerned about it. They don't have sufficient grip on it. My advice would be to have grip on any bigger thing, not just in SFM but in life. Use the concept of divide and conquer. You divide, in this case, you divide this chapter into the concepts. You capture each concepts individually, and in the span of the allocated time which you have for SFM. For example, if you have like 3-4 days left for covering SFM, if you use this concept in this 3-4 days, after you will realize that you have covered every concept, and you are in a much better position than an average student who goes from A to Z in an ascending order and leaves out some concepts and practical problems due to time constraint. This becomes very useful when the paper is set exceptionally tough. Now, if you have seen how papers are set, the May 23 attempt, another is November 2020 attempt, ICI has used that area of SFM where it was not asking more questions. Hence, in this case, this strategy becomes very useful. So I hope I was able to explain what the concept of breaking down chapters into the concept it is offering, and the divide and rule strategy. So I would really appreciate if you can use it in preparing the chapters which are very huge, which are very voluminous. Second thing about conceptual clarity which I want to talk about is understanding the why of every question. I want to actually make you understand using an example. Just a moment. Let's go to an example in ICI's website. Vishnu, which chapter have you recently covered for SFM?
Yeah, mutual funds.
You can give any example?
Mutual funds.
Mutual funds, right? Okay, let's go to mutual funds chapter. So I'll open 2 PDF, one for question and another for the answer. Let's take any random question. Which one shall we take?
Can we take that 20 or 21?
Yeah, we can take this 21. I think it's of dividend equalization, right?
Yes.
Now, how do you read this question normally? You when you are in your exam hall, you might start from here, right?
Yeah.
If you have studied SFM like for 4 or 5 revisions, if a repetitive question is asked, by just reading this term dividend equalization, a bulb might light up in your head. This is the sum. This is that sum which I practiced. It was for dividend equalization. It had some 4 or 5 more questions, right?
Yeah.
Now, if a completely unknown sum appears, you might find more time to read that question. You might want to understand it more, right? If it's not a repetitive question.
Yes, exactly.
My suggestion will be not to start with first reading the question, this data which is available, but first read what is required from this question. Why this question has come up and what is required from you. You first read this. You are required to calculate income available for distribution, issue price at the end of April, repurchase price at end of May, net asset value as on 30th June. Now, when you first understand what is and why this sum has come up, this first thing will get registered in your mind. I have to find something. I don't know the data yet, but this is what is required from it. If I read this and then I read the data now, if I'm going through the data in your subconscious mind, you will automatically start building the format and how you can crunch this data and write the answer in this on the solution of what the question, what is required. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah, like this is what he has asked there. So for that, what is the data I need to calculate the NAV at the end? So this data might be useful for calculating at the NAV at the end. So this might be useful for income calculation. So that we can gather. Yeah, I can get you. Yeah.
Nikita, are you also following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the reason for this is, first, why do you want to read the question first is when you firstly understand, before even reading the question, what is required from this question. Like a fixed format or a fixed pattern of solving this question start getting built up in your mind. You will read the data first, and then you will go to what is required. Then you might again want to read the data again, so that you can try calculating and try formatting the solution required. But when you first understand why this question has come up, then the what of this question, what this question is demanding, and how the question can be answered become very easy. So all these exercises which I told you, like breaking the chapter into concepts, understanding first the why of question, is only to help you build more conceptual clarity, because that is what is more required from SFM, the evaluation and synthesis part, which has a weightage of around 50 to 60%. Is this part I'm talking about, is building a big conceptual base. Many students have this problem, is we are not able to build confidence, or we are not just understanding how SFM works. These exercises will definitely help you in building the confidence. Majorly what is expected in SFM is your ability to think independently. Without looking at the solutions, if you are able to think about the answer, your confidence automatically starts building up. And these exercises will definitely help you build that confidence which you think you might have lost. Actually, you have not lost any confidence. Your practice and since you are not touched SFM that much, hence you are facing this difficulty. But when you inculcate these exercises, when you start thinking independently on how SFM might work, you will definitely build some confidence on it.
Yeah.
So I hope this point which I was trying to make is understanding the why of every question.
Yes,
is clear. You can this exercise will work best in international financial management, where the format is very huge, right? You have to calculate the cash flow and you have to discount it. If you read the question first, what is required? For example, if the question is required, calculate the net present value and discuss whether this project is efficient or not. First, you read this part, and then you start reading the question. The format of that question, of how can I calculate cash flow after tax, how can I arrive at a discount rate, how can I discount the cash flows, will become very easier.
Yes.
Third thing, just a moment. Sorry, apologies for that. Third thing is something which is very, very near and dear to me, with the concept which I want to talk about, and I can see a glimpse of that process which is followed by Vishnu also. This concept is called as a concept register. So Vishnu, you were talking about how you use a notebook, a margin of that notebook, and write that important part, right? Yes. The difficult part which that question has to offer. That is an amazing exercise which you did do, and it's very great, because I'll tell you why. I have a thing called as a concept register for practical subjects like SFM and FR. I used to follow this exercise from IPCC. That was the case. I was able to secure exemptions in cost accounting and financial management and FR in IPCC, and in CA final for SFM as well. Now, what I used to do is, there was this simple small register which I used to buy for this practical subject. And when I used to study for these chapters, I used to go through the questions. Now, for SFM, every question is a different game. Some questions are very solvable. You just have to read the concept and you have to go to the question. You have to understand the requirement, and it becomes like some questions are very solvable. It's a straightforward question. But what about those questions which have a very difficult and tricky part in itself, which if when you had solved it for the first time, you might have got it wrong on the first time which you have solved, but you don't want to make that same mistake again. When you're doing revisions, you want to ensure that the mistake which I did in the first revision which I was solving, I should not repeat it. Now, how can you do that? By just writing the mistake which you did in a small register, or in your case, Vishnu, you used to write in the margins. But my suggestion is you can maintain a separate small register for it and write down all the mistakes, all the tricky points that question has to offer, all the difficulty or the thinking part on why this question makes you think differently. Just a small note in a separate book. That is the concept register which I was talking about. I'll give you an example of this on how I used to do it. Let's go to that same example again, which we were studying for mutual funds.
Yeah, 21st one.
It was 21st, right?
Yeah, 21st, and it's you're checking answers. Let's go to questions.
So 21st was this question. Yeah. Now, if you read the concept book, it may or it may not cover this concept of dividend equalization.
Yes.
Now, what you can do is when you solve this question, you understand this question. If you go to the solutions part, 1 second.
21, yeah.
This is the format for that question. It may happen that you may not know what is dividend equalization all about. So you can search on Google. You can understand from a YouTube short video, that what is dividend equalization. If you don't know, it's just a dividend which we have to pay to the existing shareholders when the company gets new shareholders.
Yes.
So that everyone is at parity. There is no injustice done to the older shareholders, because the new shareholders might get equity shares at a lower price or at an attractive valuation. That's when this dividend equalization concepts come into existence. So you can write this note on why this dividend equalization came into existence. So the next time you read the question, you don't go blank. You can make a summary or a note on how this treatment is done. You start with the income from April, then you add this dividend equalization, which is collected from the new shareholders, and there you go. If you add this, you will get the new income for that month.
Yes.
So hope you are able to understand the point I'm trying to make. This is a new part which the question has to offer. This dividend equalization is the concept. Is not a regular one. Like there is no calculation of NAV. NAV is very simple. This is the market value of all securities divided by that formula we have. But this is something new that concept has to offer. And how can you remember this concept? By just noting it down somewhere. And when you start your next cycle of preparation, you first read all these concepts which you have written in your concept book, and then start with your revision and solving the practical part. How will it help? You, before even solving all these hard questions, you know the treatment of how, all this treatment of how you can solve these ones. You already have all the notes which can make your job easier for understanding this question. And it will work best when just before the exam, the 1 hour which you have, you go through the entire concept register which you have maintained for all the chapters. How will that help? Before even starting the exam, if the exam comes up with difficult questions like these, you already know what's the tricky part and what's the difficult part of these questions. And you have already made notes of it and you've already gone through it. So that's how the concept register actually works, and it works best.
Yeah, try. We'll try to start the same. Yeah, it's good. Sounds
Nikita,
good.
have you did you get what I'm trying to say?
Actually, yeah, that was very helpful. Yeah, even I would try and implement it in the next step.
And the best thing about this concept register is I was talking to sir yesterday on this. Many students always ask that if you have maintained this register, why don't you share those images with us so that we can take
follow the same pattern and all.
You can better share it with us, and we don't have to make extra efforts for maintaining it. But one thing I want to make you guys understand is this register is your efforts. It is made in your language. You can write in your mother language also. This is made by you for you. If you take some efforts in maintaining this, if you start noting down all the tricky parts of the question, if you write it down properly and in a language which can help you to understand it on the last day itself, these efforts will only compound and benefit you. So this concept register exercise has to be started by you only, so that you know what's the content written behind it. Because if I share my images, maybe you will not understand me. It's because it's written in my language and it's made only for my understanding.
And another thing is, every problem, every person faces this different level of difficulty. Some people find it very, very very easy, some problems, some concepts, and some people will find it more difficult. So the persons who has difficulty level will find it, and they'll write another type of points where what they have to remember, what they want to revise. And the person who feels that it is easy for him, he'll write not the core point maybe. So it is unique. Whatever you're telling, the concept register is unique to everyone. So everyone needs to build their own.
Yes, absolutely. You are very correct on this.
Yeah.
If you might find this problem easy, but Nikita will find this problem a bit tough. So Nikita will write it down in her concept register, what made this problem tough for her. And vice versa can be the case. So it's unique for you, and it should be tailored and custom made for you only.
Yes, exactly. And one should make his own like that.
Yes. So this is the exercise which I really want you guys to follow, and I will require images. I will require those pics where you can send it to me. You can send it to sir. You can forward it to me, where you have started writing about it in this small notebook. Hope you guys can take up this exercise, right?
Yeah, sure, I'll do.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I have a doubt as to how much time and how much detail do you actually maintain this concept register? Because I'll tell you what I did. Even for me, in my IPCC, I had scored an exemption in this particular subject, but there I had very detailed notes where I had what the concept was, what the particular formula was in different colors, and at one side of the page, I had all the question numbers on what concept it is based and where all I went wrong, what all should I give attention to. But as of now, since I don't have as much time, what I'm doing is I already have a list of questions from the faculty I followed. I write what are the formulas and what the important point is, and I mark whichever question should I do again or should I read it again. I have it marked. And this I had done in the last attempt cycle. So this attempt, what I'm doing is I have a separate book where I'm writing where all I went, like a small summary of what the format is, but it was very time consuming for me to maintain it. Like if I put in around 6 hours to study, it takes me 2 more hours just to prepare this. So is there any ideal amount of time that you should spend?
Okay. So you said that you are already maintaining something on where I went wrong and where I should have improved, right?
Yeah.
And that takes a big amount of time.
No, I write you in detail, especially with the format and a small, it's like a summary as of now is what I'm preparing, not just point wise. So I don't have to do that question again. I can just look at the notes and then I know I'll only practice, even if it's a huge chapter like derivatives. I can finish the division just by practicing 5 or 6 questions. That's my notes. So as of now, I've prepared in that detail for 2 or 3 chapters, but I'm finding it very, takes a lot of time to prepare it for all the chapters. So I've just prepared it for important chapters or what I covered in the first cycle actually. But practically preparing that for all the chapters wouldn't be possible. So I wanted to know in what amount of detail or how to, actually make it much more shorter and more effective.
Yeah, the main objective is to make those notes crisp and shorter, and it shouldn't take that much time, like extra 2 hours you're talking about. Maybe I can get on an individual call with you, and I first need to go through the images. If you can share it with me on the detail which you are writing, because the objective is never meant to be time consuming. It's just a simple thing. If you are, let's take an example, you are solving that dividend equalization problem. You found something which is where you made a mistake, or you don't know the concept of dividend equalization in the first place. So in a very short and crisp manner, you need to write that definition, or you need to write that part where you got wrong or where you didn't understand it for the first time. But that should be something which should not be time consuming at all. You don't need 2 more hours to write something and register it in a book. It should be very crisp and concise. But I would require to go through the detail which you are trying to maintain. Maybe if we can break it down and make it more summarized, so that it shouldn't be taking like 5 minutes more from the question solving part. Then that's an ideal amount of time which I see in maintaining these things. If a question you are trying to solve in 15 minutes, you take 5-7 minutes more to register something in the concept register for that particular question. That's the sufficient and ideal time which I see in maintaining this register.
Like even if it is 5 minutes, if I solve around 40 to 60 questions a day, 60.
So you write all 46 questions in a day?
Mostly, or if I'm solving 60 questions, I write notes for at least 40.
Okay, sure. Maybe we'll get on a separate call for this. I'll just have to understand the detail in which you are writing these notes. If it's more time consuming, then what is happening is you are not able to cover the main content, which is foremost required, which is the all these chapters and practical problems. If something is taking more time out of you apart from the main chapter coverage, then we might have to work on that. Okay, we'll get on a call on this and we'll just understand the grip you have on this register. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and the last part which I covered it in this first only, which is the avoiding selective study. I hope you are clear on what is selective studying, what I was talking about when I gave an example of this.
Yes.
Selective studying is when you just out of time constraint, you leave out this small part which you are required to complete this whole chapter, and when a difficult paper comes, ICI uses this as a tool for cutting more marks out of your preparation. So this is something which has to be avoided if you're targeting an exemption, or if you're targeting 40, 50 or any marks. What sets apart a passing student from an average student is the grip he has on all the concept of the chapter, and not just selectively studying this chapter and leaving the other due to the time constraint. Okay. So this was the conceptual clarity part which I was trying to make, which was the most important part, and which is what is required mainly for SFM for cracking it. Then obviously it is a no-brainer thing. We have to have abundant writing practice and cumulative revision. You just can't write an exam by just auditing the question. So what I previously used to do, and many students do, is that they use this thing called as calculator. They just read the question. For example, if it's calculate the nav, they just calculate on this calculator. They arrive at a figure of nav. They just verify it with the final answer, and they just skip that question and go to the next one. Just give me a moment. So they used to just calculate and just go ahead. Now, what happens is, if they are not writing that particular concept wala question, they are not just writing it in practice, they are just auditing it. All they are doing is arriving at a final answer. But hope you know that in SFM, some amount of marks, apart from the evaluation and synthesis, which you might be doing right, some portion is allocated to the presentation which you do in arriving that question. If you are not making a writing practice of at least 2 questions of that particular concept, you are missing out on the format which you have to write in your exam, and how you are to present that answer, how the logical flow should be established. You are just arriving at the final conclusion without even going into detail how you have arrived. So how can we tackle this? We have to practice at least 2 questions of each concept that particular chapter has to offer. How you have to do it is, let's take an example again, this mutual fund. We can go into this once again. Is that mutual fund problem visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is my laptop is a bit hanging, but that's fine. So this is we can take another example of this particular. It's a very simple question. Determine the NAV of this regular income fund.
Yes.
Now you can very well arrive at the solution of this question by just using the calculator, but when you start solving it, you will understand the presentation which ICI has tried to establish. I understand it's a very simple question, that the presentation is also very simple on this. How it has taken first the assets, the liabilities, then it has calculated the net asset value, and it has arrived on divided by number of units and the NAV. So when you try to write a question, when you try writing and solving it, you actually you get accustomed to the format and the presentation which you want to make into this, because some emphasis has to be given on how you present the answer in the paper. If you have not worked on that, if you have adopted a presentation strategy which is very raw, it is just a lot of people have this, they just make a rough presentation and they arrive at a final answer in the paper, and they go to the next question. So if you know, ICI also has a mark allocation for how you present. 10 to 20%, almost 10% is given to how you present that answer. So when you do abundant writing practice, you get accustomed to the format, the presentation, how you can logically establish a flow between the question, between the concepts of that question. Very, very logically, ICI has approached this. So it has first calculated the asset side, then it has calculated the liability side, then it has shown how net asset value is calculated by taking the difference of assets and liabilities. Then how NAV per unit is calculated by dividing it by the number of units. This is a logical flow, and this, if you start writing it, if you do practice in writing, one exercise which you should carry out is trying to establish a logical flow of the answer. Start from A, then go to B, then C, then D. This logical flow can only be established when you do enough writing practice.
Yes.
So that was something which I think, I hope, I was talking to Nikita, and she also said that she does enough writing practice. I think, Vishnu, you also have started SFM. Hope you are also doing writing practice of the same. You are just not auditing the question.
No, I usually write everything, maximum.
And when you are writing it, just try to replicate the format which ICI has given, or if not, if that is something which is very, maybe you will find that ICI has a different approach and you might have different approach. But if that is the case, then try writing it in a logical flow. I hope you got the point of logical flow, like how you can go the concept from A to C. You have to establish a link between this concept.
Yes.
So what is my ideal strategy would be, when you are practicing at least 2 questions in writing for a concept, you set a timer for that question. So in the paper, which is of 100 marks, you have 180 minutes, right? You have almost 3 years. So each mark of the particular question paper is of approximately 1.8 minutes.
Yes.
If a 20-mark question comes, you have approximately 36 minutes of solving that entire 20-mark question. You set a timer of 36 minutes, like 30, 35, 36 minutes. You write it in the exact same way where you want to write the answer in your exam. Create an environment in mind that you are writing an exam. You have to write it in exactly the same way. You box the final answer. These are some presentation techniques which I followed in my exam. You box the final answer. You underline the concept where you have written something in theory, where you have written a descriptive concept. You underline the main part of it. And when you are done with the paper, you check it with the model solution. Check it with the model solution if you have that of ICS. And an important point which you have to do is, if possible, try to replicate the pattern of ICI as much as possible, because this is also something which I have observed in many times. If the format is not as per ICI standard, ICI starts deducting marks. So we don't have to take that chance. I understand that your logical view of presenting the answer is also correct, the way you have arrived at. But if you replicate it with ICI's method, the way of presenting that answer and coming to the main answer, it's you who will get the most marks, and you will be avoided. Like, there will not be a conflict of interest. ICA has a different mode of presenting. That's why the examiner has deducted your marks. So try to replicate it in as much format of ICA as it is given in the model solution. Yes, third thing is you have to practice a mock test. So if you are following a 10-day strategy or any strategy which is given by Himakant sir, we always practice a test after getting done with that subject, right? So practicing mock test is a must. Here I have given an example of not example. I have given all these papers where the paper was set exceptionally good. The level of questions was absolutely amazing. November 2020 exam paper is the one. This particular MTP, May 21 MTP, which came, the level of question is absolutely amazing. ICA has taken, I was very surprised when ICA had taken so much efforts in that MTP itself. Jan 21 exam paper, the recent May 2023 exam paper which came. So when you are done with the subject, if you think you have enough confidence and you want to test your preparations, you can please go ahead and give this exam paper. I'll be sharing the slides, or you can note down the attempts which I have written it here. It has a good amount. The level of difficulty is nice. You can even test how your preparations are going. And in this slide, the last thing, and this is something which I take very seriously. It is non-negotiable if you are in this mentorship batch, is the way we carry out revisions. I hope both of you know how revisions go through in this program.
Yeah.
How we start our day with the prevision, where we kind of go through and just slide through what you are going to study for the day, right? Hope you know what this prevision concept is.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually do previous day revision first in the starting. Midday revision we are doing, and day end revision we are doing. 3 revisions.
Okay. So just some changes in the arrangement, but the end result is same. So you revise what you studied for the last day on the next day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but the message is still the same. This is the unique thing where you will revise a subject without waiting it for the next revision cycle. You start your day with previous day revisions when you study on the focus blocks, right? You have 8 to 10 focus blocks. You divide those focus blocks into 50:5:5, where 15 minutes you spend on reading the entire thing. 5 minutes you again revise what you studied for the
past 50 minutes. Yeah.
And 5 minutes you take a break, right? So again, you are making yourself into the revision mode. Then so you call it prevision, but what I used to do is I used to do day end revision. When the day used to end, when my focus blocks used to end, I used to spend at least 1.5 or max 2 hours in revising the entire thing which I studied for the entire day. I used to just go through it again. So if you notice, I have already inculcated 3 more cycles of revision without even waiting for the next revision cycle to happen. So revision is, I think, the game changer for CA exams. The more you revise, the more you retain, and the more you are actually able to rewrite in the exam. If you are inculcated the exercise, you will start noticing differences. The ability of your retention and the ability of your rewriting and recollecting things will definitely see an increasing trend. You will be able to retain more things and rewrite it. So revision is something which is non-negotiable. If you are not following that exercise, and if you are again going back to the traditional way of just studying and keeping it for the next revision cycle, then this is a company. I take this thing very seriously. It's something which is very non-negotiable. So this revision exercise has to be maintained. Yeah, this again, the third thing which I want to talk about, so very straightforward and will not take much more time, is abundant grip over theory. Now, just wanted to know from the two of you guys, how many theory chapters have you covered in this preparation cycle?
As of now, 4.
I did 3, like startup finance, securitization, and first chapter, financial policy and corporate states. Those 3 I've covered till now.
Startup, you are done this. And this
securitization I did. Risk management and security analysis I have to do. Yeah.
Okay, but you are serious on doing this, right? You are not going to leave this behind.
No, I'll do it because I never leave those chapters, theory chapters. I'll do it and go.
Why don't you leave this year chapters? Yeah, come on, it's just
No, because in IPCC,
just 20 marks.
no,
Already
no,
practical, there is so much.
no, I'm very much comfortable in theory subject. I got exemptions in ITSM, audit, law, in IPCC. In final also, I got, like in the first attempt, I got 50 plus in all the theory papers. So I'm very good, comfortable in theory. So I won't leave any theory in any subject. I'll complete it and go. For my comfort, that's it. Yeah.
What about you, Nikita? How many theory chapters have you covered in this preparation cycle I'm talking about?
No, I am also more comfortable in theory actually.
Okay.
I don't skip theory as it is, and moreover, it is not like you can skip theory. It is like 5 marks or 4 marks mandatory questions. So I think, especially for me, if I'm looking for exemption, you cannot cross an exemption without the 20 marks. So it is somewhere, especially startup and all, it is the easy scoring where you have less amount of time invested. More you can, be like a child score this for sure.
Okay. And like how many have you covered any chapter, or you have?
As of now, I've completed startup financial policy securitization.
Okay, startup financing you have covered, right?
Yes, and I've covered mutual funds here.
Okay. So just the point which I was trying to explain, Vishnu, and I said that might as well leave theory part. Already so much is to be covered in practical. This was my approach when I was studying for November 20 exam paper. I'll tell you what happened. It's a very funny story. You will also laugh a lot. I was of the view I am doing practical this much. I am covering almost 50-60 forex questions. I've covered derivatives so much. I think I am in a very good position. 80 marks I can score easily. 70 is in my hands. November 2020 exam paper was the most difficult paper I have ever seen for SFM. When I saw the paper, I was completely shattered. The level of difficulty was something which was very like I lost my entire confidence in those 15 minutes. What are these practical questions? I have never even seen them. Never even have and don't even know what this concept these guys are talking about. Oh, of course, I did selective coverage, hence this concept which I left behind was that which I was not able to study due to time constraint. But another thing, November 2020 exam paper had the most leanest and the straightforward theory question. If I would have done theory chapters, if I would have invested at least 45 minutes every day in those 10 days for theory, I would have easily scored 10 to 16 marks for the SFM paper. And what happened, I left theory question and I scored like almost 29 marks in SFM. It shattered my confidence. It also broke down my ego. But most importantly, it made me realize of how theory is important in SFM. You cannot afford to skip theory questions, theory chapters at all. These are very small and some chapter like securitization or security analysis or maybe risk management to some extent can be technical, but you have to study these chapters like at least every day for 1 hour. You should have some grip over theory because 20 marks, like 16 to 20 marks of your paper is your theory. And these are very straightforward questions. What they just expect you, if you read it every day, they just expect those key points to be there in the question, like startup finance. What are the various methods of bootstrapping? All these methods you have, they just need all those keywords here, and there's 4 marks in your kitty straight away. So when you just do all these theory chapters very well, automatically you have a good chance of scoring 10 to 16 marks as it is. Like if you study at least 1 hour, 45 minutes, these are marks which are straight into your pocket. And what an average student, which was me before on the November 20 attempt, most of them will skip theory or they will just read this startup finance and maybe just skim over for financial policy and corporate strategy. And they just leave theory behind and focus on more practical part. But if you read it regularly, you will remember and retain those keywords which are required for answering this theory question. You will answer it in a more better way than that average student, and you will definitely secure 3 to 4 marks minimum. Like 3 to 4 marks is that question, but 3 marks is there in your pocket straightforward. So theory is very important. It can save you when the paper is set exceptionally difficult. Practical, if you are not able to get more on marks on the practical side, theory can be the game saver or the game changer for you and can make you pass. If you are scoring like only 20 marks in practical, 20 to 30 marks in the practical question, but theory, if you are able to score 10 to 16 marks, there it is. You are actually past the group, where pass the subject, where many students will fail due to the paper being said exceptionally difficult. So yeah, this is why it is important. These are the chapters which I have marked. You can just, you don't have to cover all the theory part of the practical chapter as well, because you might not have sufficient time. But those who are typical theory chapters where there is only much of theory, you have to cover those. I have noted these chapters down, and allow 145 minutes to at least 1 hour of the day for theory. That is, you have to do theory every day. That's the only way you can get a grip over theory. You just can't put a 1 or 2 day slot for doing just theory and then taking it to the other revision cycle. If you do it regularly, you will be able to retain it more.
Yeah.
And for chapters like securitization, where there is a lot of technicalities involved, you have PTC, PTS, pass-through certificates and all.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, you might find it difficult to grasp everything in the first reading. So for questions which are very difficult, the theory questions, you start writing summary notes for them in your language, which when you read those notes first and then the question, you will understand the question better.
Yeah.
And the most important ingredient for scoring good in SFM is that ability to revise everything on the last 1.5 days. I see revision in 2 cycles. One is your preparation, which you are doing right now. And the second thing is the preparation which you are doing, which you will be doing the last 1.5 days or the 20-hour cycle. Both these things should be top notch for you. If one of the things get disturbed, you might lose the chance of passing this subject. So whenever you are preparing on this cycle, which you are currently right now, always think from that perspective that if I'm studying this thing, can I summarize this concept, or is it okay to not summarize? And in a way so that I can cover it in the last 1.5 days. You should always ask this question when you are covering a concept. If that concept is huge, bulky enough, you have to maintain some summary notes. And the main objective is to keep everything ready so that you can have a smooth transition of revision in the last 1.5 days. Suppose you are doing a very bulky chapter like Forex, which has a lot of concepts, and some concepts can be very huge to understand just from reading the concept book. Like the concept book is also very bulky. In that case, you have to maintain some summary notes for it, and you have to use those summary notes in the last 1.5 days. You can't keep things big and chunky in the last 1.5 day cycle. It has to be so much summarized and smooth that last 1.5 days is just to remember and rebrush everything which you have studied in your preparation cycle. So always keep that question in the back of the mind when you study: is, can I summarize this concept so that I can cover it in the last 1.5 days? If yes, then go ahead. If that concept is like neat and it doesn't need to be summarized, it's okay on the length and breadth side of part, then you can just read the concept on the last 1.5 days and go to the next one. And yes, since it's a practical question, you have to mark some important and difficult questions, and you have to keep it for solving on the last day. I think, Nikita, you already did this, right? You have marked some examples which your faculty has given to you, but you have kept these questions for the last 1.5 days as well, right?
Yeah.
One thing which I want to tell you also in this marking this question is that just see to it the questions you have marked for your last day revisions cover every aspect, every concept of that chapter. So when solving questions also, please try that there is no selective studying involved in that. Indirectly it gets. For example, you have marked question for Forex, you have marked questions for all these things. But maybe this nostril oro lost this account wala question, it may not be there in your last day revision. So if it's not there, then just additionally add the 1 or 2 questions from this concept as well. Objective is the questions which you reserve for the last 1.5 day revision should cover every concept, so that your every concept of this chapter gets revised. That's my main objective for marking everything. So if you are someone who has not marked it yet, so the questions which you will be solving in the last 1.5 day, I have a bonus slide. I have a filter on how you can select this question. Straightforward filter it is based on 4 points. If you experience any of the point in that question, you take it to the last 1.5 days. So how you can do that? When you start attempting the questions, if you have a good question bank, what it has is like below the question, it tells you in how much in how many attempts this question was asked, right? Do you have this such question bank where it is written?
Yes.
Nikita, you also have, right?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Nikita, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You also have such question bank where it is written below the question how many attempts it was asked?
yes, I have.
So just look out for those questions which are very repetitive, like they have been asked for like n number of attempts, and you will get an idea that this seems like an important question. Now again, a catch here is a question might be asked in various multiple attempts, but that question will seem very easy to you. Like it's like a very the simplest question, and you can even solve it without any hesitation. You can choose to ignore this question and you can move ahead. You don't have to take this to the last 1.5 days. The questions which are very straightforward, even though they have been asked multiple times, but they seem easy to you, you have noted the concept well, you know it well, you can skip that question. A point which I'm trying to make here is in that last 1.5 day cycle, many students what they experience is they have a what we can say a lust for attempting every question, every concept. They have to convince their mind that they have to cover enough of this to just gain a satisfaction that I have covered that concept. But what they do, what happens is when you cover every question of that particular chapter, your time starts running away. You have given 2 hours, but just to satisfy your mind, you practice all the questions, majorly some of which are very, very straightforward and easy, but still for just convincing your mind, you cover everything. That is something which should be avoided, because you have given some 2-3 hours to that chapter. Try sticking to those 2-3 hours constraint only. How? By selecting the questions beforehand on these are the questions which I want to cover. They cover almost every concept of that chapter. And the questions which are very easy, I have filtered them out. I don't need to cover them. You have to convince your mind on that. That is the only way where you can cover almost everything in the last 1.5 days. Because this is the problem for majority of students. They always complain ki we miss out on some concept, we miss out on some last day preparation on our last 1.5 days. So where they go wrong is they are not able to convince the mind that enough is enough. I have to go ahead and go to the other important chapters as well. So the questions which are very easy, you can skip them out. So that is the first point. If they are frequently asked, you mark it down. Second filter is if it's difficult and you are unable to solve it, even if you have practiced it for multiple times, you take that question to the last 1.5 days. Yeah. Third is the questions of those concepts which are not recurrently asked in the exams. They are very rarely asked. You can look at the question bank and you can see the rarity of this question by just looking at the attempts in which it was asked. You take that questions in the last 1.5 days, because if one weapon which institute has in studying in setting up an exceptionally difficult paper is trying to come up with concepts which are not frequently asked. So I have listed some of them down. Bond refinancing is one. And forex cash position concept questions are some of them. One. Black-Scholes model is something which is not frequently asked by the institute, because the institute also has its own reason. First of all, it's a big formula. Institute has not given any derivation of that formula. It's a big derivation actually. We use it for pricing options and comparing it with the option pricing when you do it in the practical world. But institute, like it doesn't ask it more frequently. Then covered interest arbitrage is that one concept again in forex, where you have to calculate the arbitrage movement using the interest rates only. Institute mostly tries to stick to money markets more, but this is again a rare concept which is there in the book. So take these questions in the last 1.5 days. And the last important filter being, most importantly, make your filter your questions so that in such a way that they cover all the concepts of that chapter. If some concept questions are remaining, like in this case, this particular concept questions have not been taken into your last day preparation, take 1 or 2 questions out of this and cover almost everything. So these are the top 4 ingredients which uh, you must have for scoring an exemption in or securing good marks in SFM. I hope you are able to get through every 4 ingredients which I have talked about.
Yeah.
And these are some genuine other tips which is applicable for other papers as well. You have to sincerely you have to stick to ICI's way of solving questions, because that's the only way ICI recognizes it. It has its own language of solving, and it has its own language of presenting the answer. Try as much as possible in sticking to the guide, sticking to those particular formats. Another thing is 1 week, 1 subject. Most importantly, what I'm trying to say is you should have only 1 book for that subject. Question bank from different authors is fine. Those are only question, but it shouldn't be like this. I should use 1 summary notes, 1 big book for first revision, some summary notes for the second revision, super summary notes for the third revision of authors differently. You can make your own notes for revising, that's fine. But the author shouldn't be changed recurrently in your revision cycles. What happens is when every time you try a new book, your brain will take some time to adjust to the format of that book. And in that process, there is a chance that you may forget the concept which is written there. When you use the same book every time, the more you revise and retain it, your brain will try to retain things more, because it knows the format, it knows the page numbering and everything. If you have any doubts, third thing, if you have any doubt in a question, you have to raise it immediately to the respective subject faculty. You can also, we can also discuss it. You can raise it to me also. That's not an issue. But the important point which I'm trying to tell you here is, don't waste any time trying to solve it more just for satisfying your ego that I have to solve this. How can I'm not able to solve it? What you're doing is you're wasting more and more time. Just try to solve it once or twice. If it's not happening, then you have to raise it to a faculty. Don't waste any more time solving it, because we already have so much less time at our disposal. Next, plan for the next day. You have to, well in advance. You have to spend at least 15 minutes every day in understanding what is going wrong and what is going right with your everyday preparation. You will understand that you might making the same mistakes every day. So you might be actually following a mistakeful pattern. How can you do this? By when you assess every day's preparation and where you have gone right and where you have got wrong. And yeah, last thing is keeping a same routine. You have to do it consistently. So this was something which I have for SFM. Sir, I have tried to explain, and you can take this ahead. One second. Sir is just joining in 5 or 10 minutes. Till that time, we will go through the PDFs which you have written. I had already seen Vishnu's PDF yesterday. The screen is visible, right?
Yeah.
So apart from this PDF, if you guys have any individual doubts which you want to ask right now, we can work on that.
I just want to ask, what are the first chapters? What apart from he has given, sir has given in a color coding sheet.
Yeah.
To score. So am I be fine doing that first, or should I change the topics?
So you already been
Like to be
provided.
comfortable to turn into 40 plus. So can I start with those, or some of the chapters I need to include, or
So sir has already given you with the color coding sheet, right?
yes.
1 second. I think I have that in my presentation. Yes. This is just an example. So out of this, if you can let me know what you have covered mutual funds, right? I
Yes.
saw that in the PDF and hold it now. 1 second. You have covered mutual funds.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm comfortable in portfolio also, I can do. And startup finance I did.
This is done.
Yeah, currently
You are doing
doing
this right now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is currently going on. And any other chapter which is completed?
No, not in the theory I have completed, like which was in the last securitization.
Startup finance is done. Apart from that, this is also done, right?
Yes, that one in securitization is also done. The last one.
4 marks here. Then securitization is done. Okay.
Yeah.
4 marks we have here. Mutual fund has approximately 6 to 8 marks.
Yeah.
This is done. Okay. You are currently in portfolio, right?
Yes.
So you have to finish up portfolio because portfolio has the majority weightage right now. And it's an important chapter also.
Yeah.
Because this opens up your career prospect in wealth management and equity research. That's why Institute has placed some emphasis on this chapter. Almost 10 to like 16 is the minimum, but more is also asked. Try to complete this portfolio. You can complete it by when? Do you have any timeline for this?
I want to complete by 15th evening. Like I need to complete like this theory, mutual funds, and portfolio.
Okay. Tomorrow is 14, right? Okay, you are almost 2 days.
Tomorrow I have office actually, so I'll be allotting 4 to 5 hours tomorrow, and day after tomorrow on 15th I have a holiday, so I'm I can allot more time on that day, like 10 plus. Yeah.
I got through your PDF. You are working, right? You also mentioned that you can take a leave for covering SFM.
Yes, I'm willing to. Yeah.
But from your office point of view, it's possible, right?
Yeah, possible. I've negotiated that thing also. I'm comfortable in taking that also. Yeah.
I would suggest you to do it if it's possible and if it will not be any problem to you, because you will get a fixed time for studying SFM. You can, if you cover more in depth, the coverage will definitely improve. Your speed will also improve. And since your target for SFM is in 45 to 50 range, the most important thing here is building confidence, because that is something, if you get some time for it, like if you are able to allot more time for SFM and cover more concepts, the confidence will automatically improve. It's not like it's a product which you can buy and you can have it. It is something which has to be built by practicing more and more thing. And how can you do that? By when you have more time at your disposal. If you're able to take time for SFM by taking a leave so that you can have some more time for practicing it, I think you should really consider that step.
Yeah, okay, but I want to be I want to have clarity that on doing which chapters I need to allot a complete day or a completely a day or a couple of days, like completely straight away. I need to sit and complete them. To morning 4 hours and evening 2 hours or 3 hours. I shouldn't be taking gap and preparing. So I want to be clear on which are those chapters actually. Yeah.
Okay, so portfolio you'll complete it. You are not specially focusing on it because you're already in the process.
Yeah.
So I think you should complete it by 15th, right?
Yes.
This will be done. That
Yes.
part which you are talking about, where you have to have major focus and you have to do it, is these 2 chapters actually, derivatives and foreign exchange.
Okay.
Minimum 16 marks, and here also 12 to 16 marks. This is something where you can do this exercise which you're talking about, is giving complete 2-3 days to this. How many days you can take a leave?
I can take, like 3 days straight I can take.
3 days straight you can take. Okay.
Yeah. That is the maximum time I can take.
Maximum
As per
time
the
you can-
policies and all, I can take maximum of 3 days straight
Okay.
working days. Yeah.
So in 3 days, it will be difficult to complete both these chapters since you are also new to these chapters, right?
Yeah, I can allot like 2 or 3 of these slots, like 3 days. And after 1 week, I can take 3 days. So in 3 days, I want to, can I complete Forex in those 3 days? So
Yeah,
am I
you can complete any of these chapters in those 3 days, but you will not be able to complete both of them because number one, you are new to this chapters, right? You the last attempt which you gave in November 19.
Yes.
So you will take some time more than the latest attempt students to actually understand all these concepts and practice in writing.
Okay, yeah. Accept that, yes.
So one of them you can cover. You can, if you want, even take Forex because it has the largest weightage and the sums are also on the more side. But in those like in 3 days you can absolutely cover everything. If you divide the concept which I was talking about, you have
Can I do in the next 3 days, like when I'm taking the LOP and all, Forex and another chapter, can I take like smaller one, or should I completely focusing on Forex plus another theory, like what?
what we can do is you can for the first like on all 3 days, please provide me all the updates on which how we are covering this Forex chapter.
Yeah.
Based on our speed, we can allot one more chapter to it. I am also thinking we can maybe allot corporate valuation also. If you are able to do corporate valuation along with Forex, that opens up for covering security valuation as well after corporate valuation, because these two chapters are somewhat interlinked. The discounting concept which is there is common in both these chapters. But you start with Forex. What we can do is you start with Forex. You can take my number also. Maybe I'll write it down.
No. I can take from sir, I think.
Okay. And we can do a like daily update wala thing where you
Sure.
just provide me updates on how much. I first need to see how much speed you are having in covering Forex.
Yeah.
If it's taking a lot of time, then we might maybe cover us some comparatively small chapter, like something as of a theory chapter like risk management.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I would. It's still a big chapter, so I'm not covering that. But let us see how much speed you are having, because Forex is a big chapter. More than big, it will require you to understand the concepts really well. You have to go deep into them and understand how foreign exchange market actually works. So that will take some time.
Or else, can we do another set of chapters apart from Forex? Can we take another set of chapters which are important, easy to get grip in those 3 chapters and get grip over them? So is that fine, or can we
See, the
do
thing
go with
is,
Forex only?
if I allot you any 3 chapters, this is for 8 marks. This is also has a weightage of around 8 marks. But the probability that one of these chapters might get missed in the institute's exam is more. But Forex, the probability of question coming in an exam is far more greater. Forex,
Yeah.
1 or 2 question have like they are to be there. And when you are saying me that you can allot 3 days from full concentration, I would want you to focus on that chapter which is very difficult for you right now. So I think
Okay.
Forex is something which have very little grip of, right?
Yes.
If that would have been not the case, you would have told me that Forex is something which I have a fair enough grip, then we would have focused on some other chapters, right? But
Yes.
you are first thing, we have 3 days with full concentration. My approach will be to target that particular chapter which you are comparatively weak, and because you have the most abundant time right now, you can go deep into this chapter. You can almost cover it more than any other average student, because you will be fully dedicating all the 3 days to it. So that's why, and the probability of Forex coming in exam is definitely more than these chapters. What happens is one of these chapter institute will leave it out or you will leave it out in option. But Forex might come, it definitely comes in the compulsory question. Question number 2, as I have seen, is most of the time Forex only. And one other question is repeated in the other questions. So my suggestion would be to have foreign exchange as that chapter, which we would cover in 3 days. If you are able to cover it in 2 days, then we can think of inculcating this chapter as well, corporate valuation.
Okay, let's see. Let's start with Forex and see how it goes.
Let first.
I'll update you. I'll update you about
Yeah,
my
you can talk to sir so that
my level of progress and all.
with me.
Yeah, sure.
And we can start like how you are progressing up, because one thing which I need to understand is how you are covering all these chapters, what speed you have, how it is structured, and how far you are better able to cover the concept. Because I can tell you that do Forex as well as corporate in 3 days. But the thing is, if you are not able to complete Forex in 3 days, you might feel the pressure that these things are getting very slow, and I already had corporate valuation also in my plan. First, let's understand your speed, how you are covering it. If it's good, if it's fair enough, we'll try to add more chapters.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
The objective is building more confidence right now. If you're and chapters like Forex and derivatives, if you're able to crack through it, definitely you'll see a boost in confidence right now, is what I feel.
Yeah, that's what I'm also looking for. Thank you. Yeah.
So portfolio will get over by 15, then you can think about taking a 3-day leave. And we'll be starting with Forex.
Exactly, yes.
So yeah, Forex, uske baad we can do corporate valuation, and we can pick up security valuation, because these are 2 common chapters. The equity valuation and the discounting concept is same. So when you just after finishing this, you can take up security.
Okay.
Then our focus will be on these 3 chapters, out of which this is coverable. Mergers and acquisition. It's a fixed formula driven chapters where you have a set of formula which you need to adhere to and solve the questions.
Yeah.
Only one thing important left is this derivative analysis and valuation, which we have to see how you can complete it in like 2 days or max 2 days or 2.5 days. Only futures and options we have to focus, and some part of derivatives you might actually do in Forex as well. That's up to you, that you can leave that particular portion. So in Forex, you might have some sums on options and forward contracts, which is a derivatives wala part. You can keep those questions, like there are 3-4 questions only. You can keep these questions for this later part when you are doing derivative analysis. And when you will start derivative, when you will be covering it, use those questions while covering this chapter. So that some part of Forex will also get revised, and side by side derivatives will also get covered.
Yeah, sounds good. Yes.
Okay, so after Forex, we'll have to again see how much where you are standing.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikita, is there any question from your side, or maybe I'll just look straight into your PDF which you have given me?
Yeah, I think I have everything mentioned in the PDF.
1 second. Where this has come. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so actually for me, one of the main issues is when I'm writing in the exams, I tend to, miss out small points, whether it is, I had mentioned in the PDF also, for example, if a certain percentage is given per month or per annum, or somewhere some points are hidden inside the questions. So even after practice, especially that happens to me in chapters like Forex, like even if I practice, actually for me, even Forex I'm on 0. I've not covered classes also. I've not practiced it in my last attempt also. So somewhere out there, I tend to make mistakes. Even if I'm sure of the answer, somewhere I miss out points or somewhere attention related issues.
So can you run me down with a practical question, like what is this mistake are we talking about?
No, so for example, I write down whenever I read the question, what I do is I round all the figures or whatever the main information is that I would require for the attempting the exam. I would write down the formula at the side in my first reading itself. Then I go back to it. I start solving the question somewhere. After working half the question, I realized that, okay, I had missed out this point.
Must have missed out a point. Okay.
Somewhere like
But you already know that point.
Yes. So
but you might have mistakenly missed it out.
So that is what happened in my last attempt. where I had practiced that question. I've done my 2 or 3 revisions also, but somewhere one point in that while writing gets missed out. Somewhere it is a gap in conceptual knowledge, but moreover for me it is due to I miss out in reading the question where it is like per month, or if it is percentage, or if it is indirect quote.
Oh, okay. I understand where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Can we tag this what is happening? Can we put it in a bucket called as a silly mistake?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So what I think of it is, if it have been mistakes, such mistakes are not silly if they are costing you an attempt. That is something. See, 2 things. If you are making a mistake on a conceptual point of view, that's completely understandable. Where we can take efforts to actively work on those. We can read the concepts again, we can brush on them, and we can make it more stronger. Conceptually, you're making mistakes. That's completely fine. Where you need thorough understanding of the subject itself. But one thing which is very common, actually, in the last previous attempt where I was also on mentoring students, we had a FAQ round where people had submitted Google forms. They have submitted their responses through it, and you will be surprised. Majority of the question was, how can I avoid silly mistakes?
Yeah.
In questions like SFM. So what students used to do, one example which you gave, it was an indirect code, but you took it as something else. Standard deviation sum. Yeah. The numbers are given in percentage terms. The answer naturally should always also be in percentage term. But we forgot to write percent, so institute removed our marks. Yeah. They gave a 0 or they have reduced our marks. When you write NAV, which is in rupees term, rupees per unit term, we forgot to add rupees in it or write per unit. Yeah. So these are another example of silly mistakes. Now, what I see is there is nothing wrong from a conceptual point of view, but from a mindfulness point of view, you are lacking behind. There is unfortunately, Nikhil, there is no professional solution for it. Like I can't tell you ki drink 10 glasses of water every day and this will get solved. This is something which will improve when you practice mindfulness more. Okay. What is happening is in silly mistakes, when we are writing when we are writing in exam, our mind is actually in a very, very unstable state. There is an unstable state of mind going on because there is a lot of stress going on in that exam hall. We have to finish it in time. All these other thoughts are also popping in. So next time you write a question, just take an exercise key. When you are writing it, how many other thoughts are you actually encountering? Because that is the only reason which is making you cause silly mistake is your mind is actually wandering from here and there. It is not actually fully engrossed in solving that question. Are you also agreeing with me on this, or do you have any other views?
As of actually, I had this issue before. Actually, I went through 3 years of meditation, and I've actually done mindfulness sessions and all that to decrease the attention deficiency problem. So as of now, yeah, somewhere even with Sir's box breathing technique and all that, I am able to avoid random thoughts. But somewhere what happens is I might have noted it down in the first cycle, but I am not paying it. Somewhere it is in the end for me it is attention issues.
Yeah, I also it's not like I have not made any silly mistakes ever in the attempt which I scored an exemption. I don't call it silly mistakes because that made me lose marks. I did also this same mistake where things would have gone differently, but there was some other which was a requirement, but I wrote it in some other way. So it's very common actually, but the only solution to this is first of all paying a lot of attention, and when your mind goes wandering off, you have to again bring it back. Unfortunately, there is no concrete solution on how you can do this. You already done mindfulness. You might know what mindfulness meditation is. You also do walks, breathing technique. But now that you are in a preparation phase, right? When you are writing it, you can use this exercise, which I used to do is you just acknowledge how much wondering your mind is when you are solving it. Just act. You don't have to work on it, like just try to remove all these thoughts, but just acknowledge that your mind is trying to wander off when you're solving this. By just acknowledging that, you will get to know that yes, it has gone off the problem now. My mind has gone to somewhere else. Now I have to bring it back. This exercise will or might help you in reducing those silly mistakes. When you are not mindfully doing that question, the chances of silly mistakes are going to rise. But the only solution I can think of it is acknowledging when your thoughts are getting distracting, and you have to bring it back to your senses.
Actually, my to the point doubt would be what I usually did in my previous attempts is I used to rework the issue, because mostly I do make a lot of numerical mistakes. So since I know that I have this attention issue, I spent time I calculate it again. Mostly I do a lot of calculator mistakes. So I make sure that I do it again. Then I make sure that my format. So whichever question that I'm sure of, where I am conceptually clear and I'm sure that I can score 100%, then I go and put more time on those questions, and I don't rework on the questions where I have doubt. So I try to score on the presentation. And even if I lose 2 marks on the end answer, I make sure all the formulas, presentation, and even if some explanation is there, that is correct. And somewhere for the question that I'm sure of, I go and rework it. At least on the calculator part, that this is correct, I've taken this correctly.
So you do it again, and maybe that takes some more time also.
Yes. So what happens is my average, amount of marks I've attempted comes around 80, 85. So if I do reworking, otherwise, so if I do last exam, I had, I think, written 80 marks, attempted 80, and I've scored 45. So, but somewhere, especially for exemption papers, I could have attempted 100. It is not that I didn't know. So, which is the balance? Like, should I rework it, or should I be like, okay, let the 2 marks go, I would score it by attempting 100, or that is where my main concern would be.
One question which I want to ask, when you rework it, have you noted how many times it was already correct, but just for satisfying your mind, you had to go rework it?
But for me, 60% of the time, I do notice some or the other.
So 40% of time you had made a mistake.
Yeah.
60% is the time where it was already correct, but just for satisfying your mind, you have gone back and spent some more time revisiting that problem.
Mostly I rework the moment I do one calculation one time, I do it once more. Like, it is not at the end of the because if you do a mistake in one of the steps, then all your steps below goes down. So if it is an important scoring, I do a reworking there itself.
Okay. When you're like right now, you are preparing. Has that ratio gone up, or it's still the 60-40 ratio?
As of now, it has always been somewhere. And the difference is I'm writing at home. Especially now, I've only gone at this last EMD I had attempted only 56 marks, because it was a 5-day preparation. So there you have more time in a sense, and you don't have that urgency that you have to complete everything. But when you have a time crunch, and then you have more pressure, at least tension wise, then it always remains around the same.
What I'll do is that right now it will be difficult to get you on track on something, because this is something which has to be worked from the mind. But I have noted down the question. Maybe we can get on the call with sir also, and we can solve it more accurately. But what I have to suggest you is that we have to have some restriction on going back again and just revisiting it and spending more time on it. That has to get reduced to a bit, because you are losing some amount of time in covering more problems and more chapters. But surely we can come up with a solution on this, on how you can rest assure your mind that you have solved it right in the first place itself. definitely we can maybe work on that. But this comes from a point where the psychology of student is also involved in what way that student can excel without going back again. So maybe we can take it up with sir and we can discuss it again. I have noted that point. Maybe when sir will come in, or maybe on a call we can take this side. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Any other question apart from this, or maybe I'll just go through two of you's PDFs.
Actually, this also was a question I had written down in the PDF. I had noted.
Okay. Then we'll just look on the PDF on what you have written.
Yeah.
So this is part, one second. This part I understood that, this is Vishnu's PDF, by the way. This part I understood that you have given your attempt in November 19. And after like 3-4 years, right? You are now attempting it for first group. So I can definitely understand that the confidence point of view is a bit shaky right now. But the only thing in SFM is where the institute gives more weightage is evaluation and synthesis, how you understand the concepts more. That can only happen when you spend more time on it and when you crunch those concepts more. So you start targeting those chapters which in the manner which I said. These big chapters, you can divide it into concepts and conquer each concepts individually. You conquer how there was a proverb in our school. How would you eat an elephant? You cannot gulp the elephant in one stroke, right? You can't just eat it. It's too huge to eat something. You cut it down, you break it into pieces, and then you start eating each piece individually. So that is the only way where if you want to build confidence on something which is very mammoth or very huge, even not just in SFM, but when you go in corporate life also, when you're given an assignment which is very huge, we as an individual, we always try to break it down and cover it part-wise. When we do that, we start gaining little confidence gradually. It's not going to come in the first day itself, or it's definitely not going to come in if you start the traditional way of just reading the concepts and then solving it. Because retention and smart study also has to be there. So just break it down in the chapters and target each concept individually. You will definitely gain some confidence there. After that, I was not touching. I started SFM. That's fine. Other thing which I wanted to know actually, since you have written it down. So what study material you are using, Vishnu? You have written it down that I'm using this for concepts, right? Hello?
You're muted actually.
I'm muted.
No, I'm
No, I was, yeah.
Okay.
That one was a class material from the faculty from whom I have taken classes for that attempt. And
this is clear to me. You have this is I also used the same question bank when I was preparing for SFM.
Okay, yeah.
And revision notes, short notes, just conceptual, so you can maintain when you are experiencing those difficult questions. But just one point which I wanted to ask. This is the 2019 edition, right?
Yes.
I think there are like some minor amendments which are made in SFM. For example, there was an amendment in those interbank dealings concept of Forex chapter after 2019. No. So has that been incorporated?
In that, no, but I have the study material also. I'm using a mix of both study material, and both look similar in the kind, but in the material from whom I have taken classes was like a theory, concepts and all, like first 5-6 pages and all. After that, problems will start. That kind of material it is.
Okay. You are using a mix of both things.
Yeah, whenever I'm getting less clarity on the topic or the concept, I'm going to study material and referring it, where we'll get so many illustrations and all. So it is very time consuming for me. I found it. But later back then in 2019, I was very confident in SFM. Like right after the classes, no. So I was confident that time. So now it is taking me a bit more time, like referring this concept, that concept, and if they are not working, I'm going to a revision lecture in YouTube. So that way I'm working out. as of now. So wanted to.
See, I don't want you to change any study material right now since you have already begun studying for SFM. Don't want to make any changes right now. But what the point which I'm trying to make is you are actually juggling between 2-3 resources. This might make it a bit difficult for you to is it making by any chance difficult for you to understand the concepts from one book? Then if that is not matching, then you go to revision lectures again. They have a different style of teaching it. The institute has a different style of presenting it in the module.
Yeah, the lecturer who is taking the class in YouTube has a different way of presenting it or explaining the concept, and the way of his explanation and the way from the faculty I have taken classes or not, uh, they are varying. So I'm gradually getting back the concept after listening to 1 or 1.5 times. So the fact is that the things are working, but they're taking time. So my
But they are
problem,
working at least a bit, like you are able to go. The objective is what I'm trying to say. When you do this process which you're talking about, are you still able to solve the questions very well?
yeah, I'm able to solve them, but I'm taking time. So which is not possible at this juncture of time. So I'm very much concerned about it. So the time is very limited. I need to complete all the topics. So I can't be like spending all the reconciliations between this and that. So I have taken a very updated material which I have mentioned in the PDF. That compiler I have taken, which is I found it very good.
That
He has
question bank, right?
Yeah, it was a question bank.
Yeah, the question bank part is absolutely fine. Like I also said, you can keep a question bank different for SFM. That's not an issue. Actually, this question bank is great because it has concept-wise questions. So money market, all questions in one place, forward market in one place.
Yes.
It's the same format, right? That will actually help you when you do this divide and conquer rule. Now, when you target concepts and you can practice the questions, you don't have to locate them. You don't have to spend time on locating them. But the only sort of a problem which we have is the way you do your concept part. You go from this material, then you go to YouTube lectures again. Then you juggle between ICI study material. Is it just possibilities which I'm asking you, if you can help me out on this? Is it possible to get a revised edition from this faculty?
Yeah, it is possible. We can take it. Yeah.
So if we have a revised edition, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I can take it. I can go to the faculty and
I want a one-stop solution for your concept problems. I don't want you to juggle between concept book then going to YouTube revision, because what happens is this respected faculty will have a format. If you search Pratik Jagati SFM lectures, Pratik Jagati sir has a different format of explaining questions. He majorly conducts his lecture through Hindi, I think, and he has a completely different format, which will be different from this particular format. ICI has a different format of modules where they have just written down the text and they expect the student to evaluate this. I don't want this juggling going on with you, because it should be like a straightforward penetration into the concept understanding, and then you should go to the questions part.
But I have seen like Himikant sir said, like you will be selecting one faculty if you want to do from revision lectures or books. If you want to select one faculty, you spend some 2 to 3 hours of time and select one chapter and listen to all the the faculties which you want to take. So I have listened to Pratik Jagati sir and Ajay Agarwal and Bhavik Chokshi sir. So I have taken the 3 I have seen, but I found it presentation aspect is lacking while doing with Pratik Jagati sir, because his explanation was different and Ajay Agarwal was different. Yeah, I found it like for exam point of view, I found it very useful from Ajay Agarwal. So so what I have did everything from Pratik Jagati sir for FR. I'm very much comfortable, and now also I was pretty much confident in FR right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you got me. Like,
yes. So you can just take a revised edition from this faculty so that the amendment part gets covered. I don't want you to miss out on the amendment part.
Okay.
But for conceptual understanding, like if my suggestion would be, if you are okay with the concepts presented by this faculty, if you are able to solve the questions, please don't go ahead with the revision lectures on YouTube, and you can like spend more time on that. Just get straight away done with it. Wherever that extra help is required from a faculty, then only go to YouTube. Otherwise, stick to only one faculty's notes and the way that faculty teaches you.
Yeah.
If it is required, like the concept is damn hard, you are not able to understand it from the text, then you can go to YouTube lectures. There are abundant. Pratik Jagati sir is an example. Another, we have so many things.
Yeah.
If the concept is not understandable, then it's fine. You can even let me know. Maybe we can discuss and interpret the concept well. But
sure.
My advice would be to just use this faculty's book as a Bible right now. And if you're able to understand those, use only go through it. The point is, you should not make a compulsive habit of again going to YouTube, and you should not make a habit of satisfying your mind only when you watch a YouTube lecture. So that is what it is from a time consuming point of view. I am asking, because we already have very less days in our pocket, right?
Yeah, but the material which I have mentioned was, it is similar to ICAI material only. Exactly, the presentation part, the concept part will be like 90% matches with ICAI. So the material was fine, but it was dated, as you said. Yeah, I'll take an updated one. No problem.
There are some minor amendments. When we saw this also now. 1 second. When we were in that screen, it was October 2021 edition of ICAI. So some amendments might have been made in SFM. One which I told you, that is in Forex. But if there is anything more, I have not gone through the amendments part from November 19 to the current one. But if there is amendment, I don't want you to miss out on that. That is the only point which I'm trying to make.
Sure. I'll take the latest one. But
if you are in the later chapters, if you are experiencing any problem in understanding the faculty notes and lectures as well, do let me also know. We can work on another strategy on how you can understand the concepts well. Maybe if we want, we can. This is something which I don't recommend, but if time arises, we can move to some other notes as well, which offers a better explanation of those chapters.
Okay, I'll be updating you on my, my understanding and my level of comfort, like when I start the thing, so that you can suggest me then.
Wait. So you just take updated notes from that faculty. You continue doing that. We'll later see again.
Yeah.
This we already talked about. It was your comfort paper, but now since it's actually that you started after such a long gap, and that is bound to happen. You might lose some confidence.
Yes, exactly.
It's okay.
When I've started mutual funds, I was like, shattered. Like I didn't even remember anything at all.
It's a gap of like 3-4 years. Now that's completely fine to happen. I don't remember what I did in my what I was having for lunch or dinner yesterday. 3-4 years is a big gap, and it's normal to feel like this. Why am I not able to remember everything? Because a long gap has been passed, and this involves some conceptual understanding and solving, which is bound to be forgotten if they are not revised. So the only way is how to build confidence, which I have already explained you. Just stick on that part. You will definitely see in uprising in the confidence which you think you have lost. You are not lost it. It's just that you will regain again when you start covering all these chapters.
Yeah.
Portfolio notice that I have to brush the concept once again, and I'm willing to do that, but it's taking a lot of time, which I'm able to. This portfolio, and I think you're doing portfolio right now, and then we can take Forex. You will be able to take a leave, right?
Yes.
Any this point, anything which I'm missing? Like we have already covered this, right?
Yeah, we have covered.
But that's really commendable. You are actually able to allot 8 hours every day.
No, for SFM, I'm able to allot average of 6 hours every day, but I want to push some more, another 2 hours just to get comfort from SFM. Like I was comfortable in the remaining 3, I want to be comfortable in this too. So, so planning in such a way that I can push another 2 hours.
Hey, awesome. That's really commendable if you are able to allot, because being working, you already get exhausted when the day ends. But still, in a day you are able to allot it. You can carry on this process. Definitely, we will see some result improvement.
Yeah, it is hard to push this, but I want to do it no matter what, just to get that comfort from
This
SFM.
is the
Yeah.
only approach we need right now. Your mentality and mindset, if that is prepared, nothing can stop you really. It's like how desperately you want it and how desperately you are willing to take efforts to in getting what you want. One subject was good audit, but it seems that SFM has become my one subject. And don't worry, we can work on this. You have to give a test, right? That is something non-negotiable. After your preparation is done, you can take 1 or 2 days for revising everything. Then you have to give a test on SFM. Then that is the main part to see how you have actually summed up your entire preparation.
Yeah.
To secure 40, so this was the first thing, how to secure 40 plus in the first step. So right now the approach we are following is we are covering, one second, let me open that slide. The approach we are following it, we are covering chapters according to the marks wise. So already you have covered startup finance, then the mutual funds, 8 for almost 12 marks. Portfolio management also you are in the process, which is almost 8 marks. So 20 and one more securitization chapter you have covered. So almost close to 20 marks you have already covered it. Our effort is to increase the score more by taking this chapter, which has a weightage of almost 16 marks. Again, almost 30 to 36 marks we have on an average. Then taking all the subordinate chapters like corporate valuation, again 8 marks. We have in the 40 marks area. Then we pick up security valuation. Again, this comes for 4 to 8 marks more. So again, 44. So by covering this chapter, we are actually covering it marks wise and taking up the barrier or the target which you are expecting in the 40 and 50. Of course, the focus will be to cover each and every chapter so that our coverage and our universe of securing more marks is covered. But the approach we are following right now is completely this. We target chapters according to the marks it offers. This is where it is institute asks the most questions, portfolio and mutual funds and forex. That is in our priority, out of which you have covered this chapter and you are in the process of completing this.
Yes.
So from a ABC analysis point of view, we are already on the track of covering 40. Next approach will be when we have covered 50 to get more in the range of 50 to 60 marks.
Yeah.
For that, what are the things I need to sincerely adhere to? I think the 4 steps which I have mentioned: conceptual clarity, writing practice, and revisions. Then ability to revise everything in 1.5 days. I hope you have to stick to these concepts. This is something which is non-negotiable. You got all those 4 concepts, right?
Yeah.
2 days back was graduating. The go and get attitude which was there from June 1st to starting of SFM few days back was gradually decreasing and making me feel anxious all the time. Yes, again on the confidence part of point which we are talking about, this will gradually improve when we start covering SFM more and more. Let me assure you, if let's track this result again in like 5-6 days, and you only will see the difference how much you have covered. When we are done with forex and corporate valuation, that time let's again check back your confidence levels. That time we'll see how much confidence you have again built it up. So don't worry on this. It will definitely bring back your lost confidence again.
Yeah, hope so.
And yeah, this was something which was required from my side. Okay. How many hours you spend on weekends and all. This 10 hours slot is also, that's great. Weekdays due to your working, so you'll be able to give it in the range of 6 to 8, which is very commendable. Just keep it up with that pace only. The revision phase, as I was started, revision was final, mutual fund was each chapter, but need to see and check with some important chapters like forex derivatives. Forex, like I said, we'll just stay in touch and see how forex works for you, because forex is something, a testing chapter for you and me as well, how you are able to do it.
Yeah, okay. This one we have spoken about, like doing it on calculator and
No, presentation of answer while attempting. Okay. So yeah, you were saying something?
No, we have actually discussed this point in our core discussion, which was happened earlier. So I got,
And
clarity on
this can
this.
only be improved when you practice at least 2 questions according to that format.
Yes. That is what you're told, no? Presentation aspect also to be looked into. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And this is like preparation status, that this was for my reference actually. How much you have completed, how much is left. Yeah. We'll stay in touch for SFM after your portfolio management gets completed.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll just look into Nikita's slide. So degree 45. Acha, this is a exam mistakes tracker. Okay. Such as writing, doing a number wrong, calculation mistake, attention issues, even manipulation, very short on time. Nikita, if you can help me in understanding what is your preparation status right now?
Yeah, actually, for me, in the first portfolio management mutual funds are done. Actually, only revision, like only the coming revisions are checking. One cycle of all the questions are done. For me, startup is done. Corporate valuation is half done. Mergers and acquisitions.
This is half done. Okay, so I'm assuming you are currently on this chapter.
Actually, I'm in my audit cycle right now.
Okay, got it.
So I'll be doing this in the next 10 days.
Right. 1 second. So these 3 chapters are done.
Yes,
anything else?
derivatives is done. And then I have a securitization and financial policy is done.
Okay, this is also mergers is also done.
No, mergers are not touched. Corporate valuation is partially done. IFM is partially done.
Acha, okay.
Derivatives is completed.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
So one big chapter is done, which is derivatives.
Yeah.
Like this is completely concept-wise, everything, futures,
Yes,
options, everything is done.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's a good thing that you have covered this chapter. Forex is your weak area, right?
Yes, I'm not, like I'm at 0. I've not done classes also, so it would take me more.
Oh, okay. So, how are you covering SFM? You have concept book, like if you can.
I'm actually referring to everything Mayank Kotharis. I have his concept note.
Acha, MK sir's concept book also you have, and question bank you have of which faculty?
Same, everything is Mayank Kotharis.
Okay. So that's good that it's uniform. You have the same thing for everything, right? The same notes. You use it for revision of every chapter, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's it's good that you have the same thing, because okay, 1 second. So this big chapter is remaining. So in the next revision cycle, you will first focus on completing this chapters, right?
Yeah.
So just cover this first, and then immediately we can start with, because majorly the practical part is completed up. Only this chapter is remaining.
Yeah.
But this chapter's weightage is more than this. So after completing, since this was pending, so let's complete the pending chapters first, and then we'll go to Forex.
Okay.
Forex, you have Mayank sir's book. I think it has good explanation of Forex, right? Every concept has been covered.
Yes.
So just try to cover it in the manner which I told, which is just break it down into concepts and target each concept individually.
Okay.
Mayank sir's question bank also divides the questions into concepts only.
Yeah.
So you have a good chance of covering every concepts, like the concept wise questions will be there, so you can target each concepts.
Yeah.
Also, which I mentioned to Vishnu, in Forex you will have a question which will involve derivatives as well, options, forward contracts. That is, those questions you have to mark it important, because just try to solve it on your own. Don't just go to the solutions first. It will help you to understand how much derivative valuation part you actually are good into, because this derivatives practical application is actually in the foreign exchange exposure. So these questions are actually very important. Just try to solve it first on your own, and if you're not able to understand it, then you can again go back to derivatives and revise it. But just for these complementary questions which has both the concepts, just don't try to go to the solutions first. Yeah, so we'll cover foreign exchange. Let's see again, like what I discussed with Vishnu. You can stay in touch for this Forex part, where let's understand how much speed you are taking for completing Forex. First thing, what is good for you is you already have the notes and concept book. So the reading part will be an easy walk for you. You know from where to read and from where to practice the question. The only thing is how much and at what speed you are grabbing it, at what speed you are completing it, and the attention problem which is there, which we can discuss it with sir. So Forex, we hope you can take it on the next revision, right? We have to complete it.
Okay.
So mention all your doubts on this. If to try for 100% or cement in my strong, if to try for 100% completion or cement in my strong chapters, I would suggest is to go for as much completion as possible, because even if you try to cement any good chapter, if it's a bad attempt, if the questions are set exceptionally tough, only thing which can help you is the coverage, the maximum coverage you have on all the chapters, theory ones, all the practical ones. So if you have seen,
because last time I had covered every chapter except for Forex, because Forex, even if I study, for me, scorage, like if it is I cover for 16 marks, I would still score only around 8. So that I had skipped Forex that time. So my main is, should I cover Forex or not? But yeah, I had already decided to cover Forex, because again, weightage.
This time we'll cover Forex also, so that every chapter gets covered. But the advice would be to cover as much as everything which is possible. We can't cement our strong chapters and rely on them, because we don't know the depth which institute can go into to ask questions. And Forex, more importantly, has more weightage, right? Almost 16 marks minimum weightage to high Forex man.
Yeah.
So Forex we will cover this time, and with good grip over it. If I'm giving more attention to startup, finance policy, and securitization theory, if any more priority chapters for theory, I have listed those chapters. Risk management, then security analysis is there. Yeah. These 5-6 chapters you have to do theory, and I think when you're preparing it for the first time, you shouldn't take more than 2 hours for at least the theory part. Another thing which you can, if that works for you, so many faculties have made YouTube lectures for revising the theory part, where they just try to explain theory in more simpler words. So in chapters like securitization or security analysis, where there are more technical terms, you can make use of these videos to understand these in detail.
Okay. Yeah.
So the theory coverage will get increased if some you are facing, because this has more technical terms.
Okay.
That you can make use. How to efficiently and effectively complete revision. You are in the first cycle, right now of revising? I think sir will cover this revision cycle when we are in the last stage, like 1.5 days, and the 50-hour revision track. We have a 50 hours revision and 20 hours. 20 hours is the 1.5 days, but before that we also have a 50 hours revision cycle, something where you will be placed in a scenario where you have 50 hours at your disposal, and you have to increase your revision. So the cycle of revision will definitely be more this time, which you are preparing before. But revision is something we'll cover afterwards. Books we are already clear on. That's a good thing that you have kept the same. We can definitely target an exemption this time. That's for sure, because your preparation has been good. You have an understanding of the subject.
Yeah.
The faculties and the resources you have are also bang on correct. The only part which we have to work on is forex and this attention issue which we have, which we'll definitely work on these two, and you will have a solution on this. Needs improvement in forex, IFM, interest rate risk management is a chapter which I advise you to take it at a later point, when you have some time and when you are done with forex and derivatives, because I think it's more technical than forex and derivatives, because it involves very complex derivative products. And it comes for like 4 to 8 marks. Instead of covering that first and spending more time understanding those complex derivative products, we first try to cover all those straightforward and chapters which have more weightage. So IRM you cover it afterwards when you're done with majority part of SFM, and when you still have time. IFM, I think, what doubts do you incur in IFM? I think you will cover it in the next cycle, right?
Yes, cover it in the next cycle. I was talking about when I prepared for my last attempt. These are the chapters I had discussed.
So, what conceptual gap do you have for IFM? If you can let me know that.
I'll do one thing. I'll message you during this cycle completion.
Okay, that works. No issues on that. I think I'll be in that same group as well. You can message me directly. But if there is anything conceptual, because IFM works on a format. If you know the format now, and if you know the requirements of the question beforehand, you should automatically able to develop that format in your mind of what is required. You know, there are a lot of tables in that chapter where you write all the cash flow treatments and discount rate. So that chapter follows a particular format of answering the question. If you have that crystal clear in your mind, you'll be able to solve majority of questions. Mistakes. Mention your issues in the revision phase.
Yeah, I told you, right? For me, particularly the notes. Otherwise, my revision is okay. The only issue for me is the efficiency in preparing the mistake tracker or notes, where the issue is time consumption.
Yes, okay, that's the third thing. Yes, we talked about that. I'll be requiring to see your notes on the depth you are writing. We have to trim down on the content part, where we can write it in summarized way and not spend more time on it.
Okay.
I would require those pics of some of the notes which you are trying to maintain, so that we can individually work on trimming it time wise.
I actually have, I was actually thinking of asking. I actually have the photos I've taken samples, but if you can, tell me some way to share it, I'll share it now. It's okay.
Okay. I think you just have to forward it to sir because I don't know the access part of you. But just forward it to sir. He can forward it to me and I can see it.
Okay, sure.
Maybe I'll call you up on your number. I can take that from the database.
Yeah.
And the second thing,
Sri, where are we?
we are just finishing up. We are just viewing Nikita.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Sri, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You're able to hear me?
Hello.
You're audible,
you are
sir.
audible, sir.
Yes. So where are we?
We are just finishing up, just seeing the last part of Nikita's PDF.
Okay, so concluding, right? Okay.
Yeah. Just some points which I wanted to talk to you, which we discussed. I'll just talk about it when we finish this PDF. It's just coming to an end.
Under 5 minutes?
Yes.
Done. Okay, finish it off.
So this was the point which we discussed. It's about that attention wala part where you miss this percentage per month per annum, right?
Yeah.
This we have to take it up. And yeah, mention your overall status for this subject. You awarded yourself 4 when you are pretty much in the game for SFM. I think it should be like 6 to 7, right?
Yeah, I meant in this cycle I've completed 40 to 50% of my cycle, and that sense.
Okay. But it's for you. I think it should be definitely 7, 8, which I'm seeing when you complete the second revision as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very well on track. You just have to cover the remaining chapters and those 2-3 things which we talk about. But it looks like a very straightforward game for you. Portfolio is completed partially. Yeah.
Actually, I've put in a total of 65 hours more for completion. But Forex, I've given only 9 hours, but I think it would take more than that.
When we'll approach Forex, that time we'll come to know about that. Now that is fine. I got to know both students' POV from this. I'll just take it up with sir right now. Sir, you there? I think we have finished it up. Let me just.
Yeah. So what else is left out?
So we were discussing about few things. We were discussing with Nikita, and we came up on this issue about silly mistakes and some attention-related points.
Got it. Okay.
So in Nikita's case, what we have is that this was something which is observed maximum for students who are solving SFM. They make some silly mistakes and they neglect some part of the question while reading it. And when they're halfway solving through it, they sort of understand that they have missed some point and they cancel the whole question and solve it again. Or in other cases, when student writes the answer, he or she is not confident that the answer the student has written is correct. So they again calculate all these problems, all the concept, and again do the calculation part. All these things, as you know, is time consuming. It takes some extra time again. And this is like not connected to the conceptual point of view. The student is conceptually very well versed with the subject. Only thing is from a psychological point of view is that the student is not able to mindfully understand the situation and makes a mistake out of it. So I would really like your suggestion on how a student can solve this problem.
Okay, let's you can stop sharing the screen.
Yes. Okay, I think, is it done?
I'm still able to see it. Yeah, it's better. Yes.
I've stopped sharing it.
Okay, you're able to see a whiteboard, all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, help me with the problem number 1, Nikita. I think whoever is having this.
Yeah, for me, actually, the issue was since I do miss out, or I'm not, I have a lot of silly mistakes. What I do was, and the question which I'm confident in, I rework. So if I do a reworking on it, I'm able to efficiently answer 80 marks. If I don't do reworking, I could answer 100 marks because I knew the questions. So my main issue would be, should I rework and make sure that I reach a check and do 80 marks, or should I be like, okay, let the 2 marks go, but then still attempt 100?
What do you mean by rework?
In the sense, mostly I do a lot of calculation mistakes. Otherwise, when I read the question, also even if I have noticed while reading the question, be it when there is a percentage figure, is it per annum, per month?
Okay,
Otherwise,
so number one, okay, I got the situation. Read the question thrice.
Okay.
Even if you understand it in the first time, read it thrice. It's like it's like 5-time revision, 3-time reading the question. It should become a principle. Okay. There is no second thought about it. Even if it's a 1-line question, even if you understand it, read the question thrice. This is number 1. Number 2, do not start the answer till you freeze the structure. Let's say there are only so many variables in a question, right? Now let's focus on the variables in the question. Now, what are the variables? Is it per year, per month, or the currency, whatever are there? So there are only so many variables in a particular question. So which means that these are the things where you will go wrong, right? When you're submitting the exam mistake tracker, always focus on what are the mistakes which are being repeatedly done. So pin them while you're looking at the question, as and when you see, okay, this is per year, you mark it, or this rate, you mark it, or USD to India conversion, you mark it. Wherever you might be potentially making a mistake, please pin it, please mark it. So you're putting in conscious attention, like you're establishing control. It's a very simple problem. I'm saying silly mistake is something which I don't accept. If something is making you lose the attempt, it's no longer silly. There's nothing silly about a mistake. So it's a serious mistake which has to be sorted, but I'm giving a simplified solution in terms of how you can work upon it. Okay. So if you do these 2 changes, the need to rework will drastically reduce. What you should do instead is you should allocate 5 minutes of time. Even your exam, you should write into this component 50 plus 5 plus 5. This is exactly how you're going to write the exam. That is the most important part which you have to clearly understand. Even in the exam also, you have to write in the 50 plus 5 plus 5 format. So there you're putting in the additional 5 minutes. You're investing the additional 5 minutes to see if there are any mistakes. The idea is not to correct the mistake. The idea is to just check and scan. That's it. You're not going with the intention that I have made a mistake and then let me fix it. That is not how it is. You have done everything right, but just before you submit it, you're just rechecking. That's it. If you do these 2 things, 70 to 80% of the things are almost gone. Now you're accepting as a rule and you're trying to solve the problem at the fag end. Now I'm talking about the root cause, because you're not putting your complete attention into that. You're not pinning down. You're depending too much on your eyes. Focus. Use pen. Freeze it. Pin it. So if you do this 2-3 things, this will get resolved. You can try it from today itself, and then we can see. And practice.
Is something I used to take a red pen and I would round all the.
Yes, that's it. Do it while you practice also.
Okay.
Make it a practice. It looks like you're putting an extra 10% time, that's worth it. That's totally fine. The 10% time you can increase the speed otherwise also, but do it. These are all very, very fundamental things. So no discounting on fundamentals. Yes. What else?
I think the habits are what are going to differentiate you completely. If you make it a habit right now, then you will have a very good command over it in the exam time as well. And the time consumption which is happening, it will get drastically reduced. But the question is, you have to inculcate this habit right now.
Yes.
And yeah, the second thing actually, this was about Nikita only. She has maintained a concept register for SFM before, but she is not like she has written it in way more descriptive format. Whereas a concept register is a super short summary for understanding the tricky part of questions.
Did you see her notes, or should I share it?
No, so I wanted to actually connect with her so that she can send it to me personally and I can.
I already shared it. Nikita, did you send it to me the same thing, or are you talking about
no, I sent the same thing.
The same thing, right? We're talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just sharing it on the screen, Sri, so you can have a look right away.
Okay, yeah, that will be great.
Are you able to see this?
No.
Not yet.
Now?
Yeah, okay. So this is that thing. I think this is index mapping, right?
Yeah, this is more like I have all the questions. The first one was the mistake tracker, where I write in very short. These are the formula, this is the concept, and this is where I went wrong. I've marked all the important questions which all to cover in the next cycle and all that. The other one is theory. I've written bullet points to cover easily. This is the detailed notes, like a summary of the whole question.
Okay. Okay. Summary of the
answer actually. More like.
Okay. So you do this for every question or only the tough questions? This
one I've actually done for mutual funds and I think derivatives actually. Just a second. For 2 chapters in this particular cycle. The first mistake tracker I had already done in my last exam cycle. This time I've done for portfolio management and mutual funds. Portfolio management only for tough questions. Mutual funds I've covered everything because it is a scoring chapter.
Okay. Nee, what I'm asking is for all the questions you have practiced, because this looks like a lot of questions have been written. So you do this for every question that is there?
Yeah, for mutual funds I've covered everything. For portfolio management, only the important questions.
Okay. See, this will definitely take a lot of time, Nikita, and most importantly, there is no need to go this much descriptive. And second thing being, you will not get time to visit all these things once you are in the 1.5 day cycle.
Yeah.
You can just what the objective is. I explained to you in the dividend equalization problem. If you are finding something which is not a silly mistake like that, or the attention issue is there, if that is if there is a new concept which has a completely different new offering, or which was not known to you, that you register in the concept register.
Okay.
But something which is a silly mistake or an attention issue, we have to work it out from that reworking strategy which sir talked about previously. You are the description you are maintaining in this. It may so happen that in the last 1.5 days you will not get time to go through each and everything. We only need those notes which we can cover it in our last 1.5 days.
Okay.
Just before the exam also, I used to give 1 hour to just scan through that book. This might not help you to understand the tricky points, and you will not have sufficient time to cover everything. So we have to trim it down to such an extent that it only covers the difficult part where you have made a conceptual mistake, or the question has something new offering which is something which is not covered in that concept book of the faculty which you have. But writing about each and every question point is very time consuming, and you will not be able to go through it on the last day.
So with the first 2 pages, which is a mistake tracker I've maintained, would that be enough?
Yeah, that's an index mapping exercise. That is fine.
Okay.
But this part being where you write the tricky points of every question, we have to just write in simple sentences, 1 or 2 sentences about that part, and that should be done. Not more than that, explaining everything about that question, because I observe you have also written the question part of like 10.71% bond purchase amount is this.
Actually, that happened for mutual fund because for the last attempt, it was a chapter which was very scoring and I covered it in total, but then I couldn't actually, I had forgotten in between the presentation cycle. Actually, I think dividend equalization only, which was there. So since it was so, and this was a day where I wasn't feeling well. So, to improve, I tried it for 2 chapters, but I understood not practical. So I wanted to hit a between point between the first 2 pages where I'm writing the basics and this where it is much more. This is mainly for presentation part or wherever I've done a mistake, I've marked it. This was only for 2 chapters. I have no plans of doing for the other chapters also because it's not practically possible.
Yeah, it will be difficult to cover. Just think of it, ki how can you cover this in the last 1.5 days? This amount of detailing which is there. If not, then we have to think of the other way, which is very trimming it. Now again, this there is an example, question number 31 continued. You have written the numerics of the question, and I think this is a mistake which you did. Dividend.
Yeah.
So dividend should be deducted from this amount while arriving at the answer.
Yeah.
You can write it in that way. Dividend should be deducted from the transaction amount while arriving at the answer. No need to write every question behind this, right? Deduct dividend when paid in that year. You can stretch it more and make it in a complete sentence so that you also understand the gist of that scenario which is going on in that question, and just that you write that and you move ahead, but no need to write every numerical aspect of it. So when you do it for more chapters, you can send me those images so we can know that you are going in the right direction for maintaining this concept register.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, I guess this is sorted out. I think for Vishnu, we also discussed something. I just skipped my mind.
No, this one, because I used to write like the dividend should be deducted while arriving the answer. That one I used to write in the margin.
Yeah, so that is the good enough way for maintaining the register.
But I actually not maintaining a separate book. I'm writing it in the question bank itself. So I used to I'll try to start the concept register as you said.
See, if you have sufficient space in your margin, then you can use the margins. But register is why I do it, because the questions I solve more, the margins may feel like it may go short on the space. But different register would be good to maintain all these things. But if you have margins,
I'll try for one chapter, and if it is working, means I'll continue. Like I'll update you if it is possible.
Okay.
And how it is going.
Yeah, anything for forex, like you will be connecting with me. So sir, he's actually doing right now portfolio management, and he will be taking a 3-day leave from office to completely focus on forex, which has a higher weightage of almost 16 marks in SFM. So I'll be able to stay in touch with him for this forex chapter, and every day he'll just update me on the coverage he has done. I just want to know how he's speeding up in completing forex chapter, because he has taken SFM after a 4-year gap, right?
Yeah, we'll work on that. I'll facilitate what needs to be done. So I think this particular session, I think the way it has unfolded is you're able to map the journey of a student from 40 to 60. You're also able to map the journey of a student, probably because Vishnu might be wondering if he might be around 25 to 30. If you're saying that I want to get to 45, that could be your score in the mind. So that's the reason why we did it with 2 extremes. There are a lot of things which are quite common, which all the students should generally do. And the other part is you have to do that personalization. And this is exactly what has to be done. Let's say there is a particular chapter which is taking a lot of time. Stop everything in life and finish that chapter in 2-3 days. This is exactly what has to happen for any subject. That's the right decision. Because like for working professional, work cannot be an excuse. It's a privilege. Work is a privilege because you can use that money to do a lot of things or improve your preparation in multiple. You cannot look at it like an excuse. So yeah, this is the right step. Whenever you have a micro break, focus, finish, move on. Focus, finish, move on. Yes, that decision is right. And how can we facilitate this? How can we take this further and all? We'll understand. And this call, since we are spending ridiculous amount of time, like literally look at the amount of time, it's like a movie. Now, why did you do it? Once it is done, it's done. Like it's a fundamental. It's like a master class which will fix everything for a lot of you. And the individualization, the personalization will focus on this. And from here on also, we'll move only stepwise. Let's not solve all the 100 steps at once. This is only to tell you these are the 100 steps. Now tomorrow you only focus on 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. Fix it, let's move. Fix it, let's move. Otherwise, we'll get stuck too much. The idea is even without all of this, tree has clear. See, even without all of this, tree has clear. Now, when you're adding one more layer, that should be a minimal and simple single step which will fix the gap, the core gap. Let's not fix everything. Okay, so this is a broad range of things. I think we have discussed things in a very, very detailed manner, thanks to Sri. And I believe now we are very confident about hitting your personal goals. There is a good chance that it might change. Nikita wants to go take it to 65, Vashnu want to make it 50. It will change. But this is exactly where I think we should conclude for the day. And thank you, Sri, for another fabulous session here. Getting deeper and deeper every single day. Like yesterday compared to today, when you are looking at it on a case study basis, you have done a phenomenal job. And good that both Nikita and Vishnu are very well prepared. Like the questions which they asked, both of them are very clear and concrete about asking the specific and precise things. And Nikita, the way she has shared it out, you're doing a good job, Nikita. Like you're done enough work to get the exemption. It's just that the fine tuning is there. So you should definitely count upon an exemption. Good job. I'm happy with that. Vishnu, you also don't worry about it. 45 is going to happen. Let's see if we need more. Okay. So how to facilitate this, how frequently we interact and all of that, we'll decide as the course of the program goes. But this is exactly what we have. Since we are streaming it live, I'll share the recording also. You can use it as a long-term reference. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's conclude this at this junction. So you want to add up something at the closing?
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. It's always I consider a privilege interacting with students because this is the part I love the most. No matter how many hours, like the hours go just like water. I don't even come to know what's the time right now. I just looked at it and it's 2:11. But just wanted to end it with a note that just stick to the 4 ingredients which I talked about in that presentation: conceptual clarity, abundant writing practice, and cumulative revision. Avoiding selective coverage and ability to summarize everything in 1.5 days. Just use those as basics for covering SFM. You will definitely hit the scores which you want. And definitely more than that. But sticking to the basics is what is expected to clear this subject.
Fantastic. Yeah. So Vishnu, share your quick feedback for Sri. What exactly is the experience so far? What did you learn? How was it helpful?
The thing what I wanted to be clarified before starting the session, I was, I can give 100 out of 100 because I was completely, cleared. Mm-hmm. So what needs to be done, where I am, and what I need to do, she has explained, clearly what I need to do and where I am. So that is what I wanted to know. And he has explained it very, very clear and concise manner, and has given some few tips which are, like very good, solid tips which you usually give to everyone. So those tips will be, helpful for clearing SFM. I am comfortable after the session. Let's see how I progress using these tips. Yeah, thank you so much, Sri.
Definitely in touch for especially how you unwind in Forex chapter.
Yeah, sure.
But sure. The confidence part, I'm pretty sure you will gain it after completing Forex and corporate valuation. You will yourself see the difference.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for the confidence which you are given in this 3 hours itself. Yeah, thank you.
If Vishnu is certifying, the cohort certification is done, Sri. So this guy is like a gang leader. So Nikita, from your end.
Yeah, actually for me, the 2 points which are very helpful for me was firstly breaking down the chapter, especially huge chapters, and secondly would be reading the questions from end. To understand what is asked for. This is something we already, at least for me, I already applied in MCQs and case studies, but not for practical subjects. So that was a very good point, would help a lot. And overall, the attention and the specific concerns that got addressed was very helpful. I would actually thank you very much for all the attention and the solution that was given.
Perfect. So whatever you wanted, you have delivered. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So should I attach him a problem solver tag?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
He's understanding, Mr. Sri is understanding exactly what we are expressing.
Right.
Even though in expressing our problem is also, we may feel some confusion about those things, but he's getting the core point which we are struggling about.
Wonderful. So when you're looking at this, I believe now you understood the shift in the preparation process. This is exactly the whole part. So you're doing it in X method. It has to be done in Y method. So as long as you know that the shift, transition, and how fast can we do, how well we can do, all of it can happen. So Vishnu and Nigita, so this is exactly how we are planning to challenge the coaching industry or coaching mafia, whatever you call it. So this is how we want to tailor made. So we're expecting if this approach is followed, somebody need not go through the layers and layers of coaching forever, right? So can we replace this as a substitute to coaching? What's your talk on this? What's your say on this?
Actually, for SFM, yes, this would help in the preparation and presentation cycle. But if your basic concepts are clear, you have the basic knowledge for repeater, especially more than enough for first time.
No, so this is, see, for you, the reason why we started at this, you're at 25, right? First timers, what is the objective? Now, index mapping gives 10% clarity. If you do only index mapping, it gives 10% clarity. If you complete bootcamp, it gives 15% clarity. Now we'll add one more step, which will give you 35 to 40% clarity. This is for first timers, where you get clarity on this. Then what happens? Let's say the way we have scheduled the score improvement program. Now you're already knowing some part of the subject, so we're not adding the other layer. Now, what is the other layer? Let's say you look at something like Forex. Now there will be a recorded module on Forex. What exactly it is about? What is it about? It's like a almost like a coaching video with specific focus on insights. And once the student implements it, then there will be a follow-up discussion in terms of what has worked, what has not worked. So this way, it's completely active preparation. You do this, try this, come back, we'll fix it. Do, try, come back, we'll fix it. So this is exactly how in 10 days, the student is completing the syllabus. Until now, the faculty has been completing the syllabus. So this is exactly how we are looking forward to this. Sounds good?
Yeah, sure. Actually, a final suggestion, as a mode of communication, at least in the app that you have, could you prepare a group with Srisar also included so that, we could,
Yeah, we'll take care of all that. This is something which we always do. So right now, the focus is more on the mindset, routine, and the first layer of boot camp and base camp. Now we're moving to the 10-day strategy. The communication has to happen. We'll facilitate all of it. Don't worry about that. That will happen within the next 24 hours. Okay. So I think time to take a break. So please keep working on it, and the next intervention will happen automatically. So thank you, Sri. Once again, I'm super happy. So you're just setting the benchmark higher in every call. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure is mine on this.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick snapshot. I want a thumbs up from all of you. Nikita, where's your hand? Perfect. Done. Cool, guys. Thank you for joining. Good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call, sir. Yeah.